bet Keith could have got them folks already. Unless they come in both from China. Yeah.
Just many people up at these can get hot. You know? Just many people is really gonna get hot.
Yeah.
So,
We're YouTube live.
Thank you.
it's actually like things like the time of the it's 4 hours at a time. And all it would be and they'll give him 4 hours of and I want to talk to Hannah too. Thank you.
And the church, the Lutheran church.
And Mark. Lutheran Church. How do you say? Oh, so those are kind of like other consent too?
Those, yes, those are the things that were added after.
To the consent?
Yes, sir. They were added to the agenda after the deadline.
Okay. So
Okay.
we'll need a motion to amend the agenda to
Right here.
add those.
Motion to amend the agenda with the following items.
Yeah. So where is?
Yes, I got it right here with the ringer on. I didn't know there was one until after today. I just found that out.
I don't know.
Yeah. Thank you. Not the.
And happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yep, she did.
All right. All right.
Yep. 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 Okay.
Hey, Bobby, I got you. Huh? Yeah, I can hear you. I'm gonna put you on. Yeah, I can hear you great. I'm gonna put you by the microphone, okay? Thank you. Oh, Bob, when I gave you your packet today, did I give you some stuff with tabs on it to the side? Okay, all right. Thank you. All right. No, no. All right. I'm gonna put you back on speaker.
Slab two.
Wow.
Did you hear anything back from that?
Not yet.
Okay.
The letter has been sent, all of the
If I could get your attention, please. Welcome to this regular scheduled meeting. If you would, please stand and join us in pledge of allegiance, and we'll get started. Pledge allegiance. Please remain standing for a moment of silent prayer. All right, thank you. All right, we'll call roll. Ward 1, Alderman Mr. Burke is present. Ward 2, Alderman Mr. Richardson is present by telephone. Bobby, you there?
Bobby?
Yes, sir, I'm there.
Okay.
I am here.
All right, and you're present, you're gonna be present by phone the whole meeting?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
All right, Alderman Ward 3, Mr. LaFontaine is present, and Alderman Ward 4, Mr. Piazza is present. City Attorney, Mr. Malcolm is present. City Clerk, Ms. Fayard is present, myself. First thing is there a representative from Lowe's here? Anybody from Lowe's?
Yeah, he's in back.
Oh, I can't see it. I'm sorry. Would you come forward? I'm looking around. I can't see. Look, my glasses don't let me see that far.
That's Mr. David, the store manager.
He's so small you didn't see him.
I know, right? Mr. David, the reason we ask you here tonight is we want to award Lowe's for all that y'all have done for Waveland, and you continue to do on just ordinary basis. And so, from the city of Waveland, I want to present you a plaque, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right? And we can take a picture later. But I do have to say that every time I call, it's Mr. David I talk to, and he is always so forthcoming with giving help or the town green. I mean, it's a good example. They donated, Mr. David through Lowe's donated the gazebo. They done a big project down at the Veterans Memorial. So thank you. It's really important to the city. And keep Waveland beautiful. Thank you too. Now I'll put my nearsighted glasses on. All right, Police Lieutenant Mr. Chad Dorn is here to discuss the need for body cameras and the potential of the grant. Come on up, Mr. Chad. Thank you, LT.
Thank you.
Thank you,
The picture you have there on top, that is 7 of our body cameras that we have currently, which is with the WatchGuard system. That system is aging. From what I understand and the research I've done, the typical lifespan on a body camera is 3 to 4 years. And I know these body cameras, I've been with the city now almost 4 years, and we've had the same body cameras that whole time. So they're at the end of their lifespan. The 7 that you have right there are all broken, not functioning. 2 of those are under warranty, one of which broke in December, and we ordered it. They ordered a replacement for it, and it's been on back order since December. They say it's about a 6-month back order, so that one should be in, the replacement should be in within the next couple of weeks. Another one of those was actually the camera that we gave that officer as a replacement, and it lasted. She was at the academy, so she didn't use it. She come back to work on patrol on the street and used it for about 2 weeks, and it broke. It's under warranty. When I ordered the replacement for it, 6 months back order, so there's no telling when we'll get that replacement. Currently, we have 16 patrol officers on patrol, and we actually have policy that our patrol officers wear their body cameras and they activate their body cameras when they have any type of interaction with the public. It protects them and it protects the public, and it protects the city by having that body camera activated during those interactions. Currently, I have 2 officers that have no body camera because these are broken, and we ended up having to take the one away from the animal control officer to put on a patrol officer. So the animal control officer doesn't have a body camera. So our system is in very bad shape. The evidence management system that, you know, at the end of the shift, the officers, we have a computer that's set up in an office that is solely for the body cameras. It's like a 12 terabyte storage system for these cameras, and at the end of the shift, the officer goes in there, he docks his camera, and it uploads all of his videos to that storage. Our evidence management system that we have access to where we can pull the videos if we need it. According to the state of Mississippi, the state law is that we have to retain the body cam footage for 90 days. Longer if it's got evidentiary value where it needs to be held longer. So we have to hold that for 90 days. The evidence management system that we have right now, whenever it was purchased back in the day, is what WatchGuard tells us. And WatchGuard has recently been bought out by Motorola. So we've been in communication with them. And that's one of our issues is the evidence management system. It's got so much stuff on there that it's causing problems with the cameras was one thing. The system is only rated to hold 10,000 videos, and currently we have 17,000. We've already, we pretty much totally wiped out everything off of there one time last year, and it's already back up to there, and it starts slowing the system down. They told us that it's only rated, that it's a light system, so it's only rated for 10,000 videos. So that's one of our problems. Chief and I started looking at body cameras late last year because we kind of thought that we might be having the issue come up. We actually we looked at a couple of different ones, actually tried out a couple of different ones. One of them it was just a cheap version of it. We tried it, we kept it for about a month, and the evidence management system was okay, but the camera itself was not. It had too many buttons on it, and it just wasn't what we expected. So we sent that one back, and that one was a cheap version. It was, I think the cameras were only like $250 a piece. But it wasn't what we need. So another system we reached out to was Wolfcom. And Wolfcom, it's a small company, talking to them on the phone. I was actually impressed when they sent us the trial for us to send it. I mean, it came in a big Pelican case. It had the laptop. It had 2 cameras. Because their evidence management system is like top notch. It also has a dispatch or an admin side of it. These cameras, they were unbelievable. We were able to use them for 2 weeks. I had one of them on day shift, one of them on night shift, and this system was awesome. The evidence management system, it would be the same version. They would provide us with a 12 terabyte system, but the management system itself would hold more, and it actually comes with a backup in case something happens. One thing, the management system we have right now, like I said, after 90 days we can get rid of those videos. Well, I have to go in there and manually get rid of those videos. I sat in there probably a month ago for 4 hours and just got rid of 5,000 videos. It took me 4 hours to get rid of 5,000. Sitting there, because you can only do 1 page at a time, and what I was actually saving them to a external hard drive so we would have them just in case, but it took me 4 hours just to get rid of 5,000 videos. That had knocked us down to, I think I got down to 12,000. That was about a month ago, and now we're back up to 17,000. So every so often I would have to go in there and do that manually. This system with Wolfcom, you can program it how you want it. If usually what they do is, right now with the officers on the cameras that we have, when they get through with the video, after they get through with the stop or whatever, they can hit keep or don't keep. A keep video is one where we think we might need it for evidence, so they would hit keep. Don't keep video would be a traffic stop where it was just a citation issued or something like that, so they would hit don't keep. So after 90 days, one thing, I mean, if you haven't got a complaint within 90 days, then you're probably not going to get one. So it's safe to go ahead and get rid of that video.
But if you hit don't keep, it still keeps it for the 90 days.
It'll keep it in, right now, the system that we have right now, it'll keep it in there until I go in there and delete it.
I mean, on the one that you tried, the don't keep, it'll still keep it for 90 days.
However we want to, we can program it and it'll automatically do it for us. And so it doesn't tie up me or somebody else that have to go in there and do that. It also allows, their system allows the district attorney can have access to it, to where that they can, if they need to get something or if the investigators can go in there and actually build with their evidence management system, they can build a case file, a whole case file with videos, pictures, whatever, just for that case, and they can send it back and forth instead of having to burn right now, if we have to bring something to the district attorney's office, we have to burn it on a DVD and bring it to them. This system, we can just shoot it over there to them, and they have it. Another feature that this system had that I was really impressed with, like I said, it had an admin side to it. That was one thing that I had the laptop for when they sent it to us for us to try. They called it a dispatch, but he said it don't have to be dispatch. It can be an admin side. These cameras, like I said, they have a lot of bells and whistles. One thing I liked about it is that they have GPS, so I can pull up the system and I can see where my officers are, because it's tracking the GPS and the cameras, so I can see where they are in the city. Another thing it had was, from that, I could actually remote in and activate their camera and see what's going on. I heard, listening to the radio, I hear an officer make a traffic stop. I can remote in, pull up their camera, and watch that traffic stop from my computer at my desk. And that was a really nice feature. Same thing with that system, the chief, if he's sitting at the house, he can access it with his cell phone and pull up what the officers are doing with that system. You only have, with this system, they give us one free admin login, and for each additional one, he said it's $150 per year for each additional license for that. The system was like, I mean, it's like top notch. I was really impressed with it. The system also has a alert button on the camera. So if the officers get into a bad situation and they didn't activate their camera or whatever, they can hit that alert button. And what it does is the computer that I'm watching in my office, it sends an alarm to that computer and pulls up a live view of what's going on, so we can see what's happening. And with the GPS, so we would know where to send the officer for backup. That was another nice feature. The system operates on a 4G cell phone network. That's how all the tracking gets done. It actually the camera has a push-to-talk button like the old Nextels, where you can set up a group and officers can talk to each other, or they can talk to the dispatch or whoever has access to that computer. They can talk to them that way instead of over the radio. It's a pretty good system. I was very impressed with it. I'm still waiting. He said that I was trying to get some other agencies that might have them be using it, so I could get some feedback from them. They've got some on their website, but it's like all out of state and stuff like that. And he said that there was some in Mississippi, and he was supposed to be getting me that information so I could reach out to him. But he said, you did try the system, right? And I was like, yeah, I tried the system, and we really thought it was a good system. If you look in the packet that I gave you, that Wolfcom, that's the first quote. See, right now, I think with the watch guard system, which is what we had 20 cameras. We had 16 officers, and we had 20 cameras. Well, right now, we're down to, I think, 13 cameras. So we had backups, and now we don't have any backups, and we're actually short. But so when I started getting the quotes, we were trying to get by with the minimum that we could get by with. And so Wolfcom had packages. They had an 8-man package, or a 6-man package, an 8-man package, 12-man package, or a 16-man package. So we looked at the 16-man package. We have 16 patrol officers. The one thing we do have, like I said, our thoughts are, with the system that we currently have, we have 13 cameras that are working. Those right now can be our backup cameras. With the Wolfcom, we had 16, so each officer would have a body camera. And the 16-man package, with the 16 cameras, it comes with a 2 8-bay docking station where the officers would dock their cameras at the end of the shift. Instead of bringing them home with them like they do now, they would leave them in the docking station. Right now, when the officers go dock a camera, we got one little station in there for them to dock. So if you got 3 officers trying to go home all at one time, they're fighting over who can dock their camera, because sometimes it takes 20, 30 minutes for it to upload the video. The cool thing about this system with the 16-bay docking station, they all can go in there, they can dock their station, they don't have to do anything else. It automatically uploads it to the system. They dock it and they can go. But it comes with that.
Chad, is that the system you like better?
Yes, and I got 2 quotes. We looked at Wolfcom because we liked it. Like I said, WatchGuard was bought out by Motorola, and we've been doing a lot of talking with Motorola. And actually, Bay St. Louis actually is using the cameras that Motorola sells right now, and I hear a lot of griping about them, the issues that they're having with them, which would be the same ones if we were to try to go through them right now. But the Wolfcom system comes with the 16 cameras. We have to, the 16-man pack, there's, after that quote that I gave you, actually, if you look at it, it's the color copy. That's what all comes with that system. It's the 16 cameras. It's all the software that goes along with it, and it's a 5-year package deal. The Commander online platform, that's the system that we're talking about, where we can live view and stuff like that.
What about here, Chad, where it says 16 cameras your first year, and then 16 free cameras your third year, so they give you 16 more cameras?
With the 5-year package plan deal, which is, the base price is $37,442. All right, like I said, the average lifespan is 3 to 4 years. So So, with the 5-year package deal, at the 3-year mark, they send us 16 more new cameras. And we keep the 16 cameras that we already have. So as long as they're working, we can still use them.
So, no, I guess not having cameras on officers that's a liability. I mean, the biggest protection for them is the cameras themselves.
Exactly. It's nice when you get a complaint where they say officer did this or officer said that, and you go pull up the video and it's nothing like what they said. It's nice to have that. I mean, it works in their favor and it works against them sometimes too, you know?
So none of this stuff's on back order?
Well, with the Wolfcom system, I talked to him yesterday, and I wanted to ask him, because I'm looking at Motorola. If we were to go with Motorola right now, 6 months.
Okay.
With a new system, with the whole new system, new cameras, everything, it's still 6 months. Talking to Wolfcom, I asked him, I said, if we were to move forward tomorrow and we ordered the stuff, when could we have it at our door? He said 2 to 4 weeks.
You got your answer there.
So I also asked him, okay, so we're looking at 16 cameras, all right? And we like that, we're not getting a backup. So if a camera goes down and I need one a replacement, because you get, I think it's got like, it comes with a 5-year warranty. So, 3 or 5 year warranty. So, and it's no fault warranty. So if I need a replacement, how long is it gonna take me to get my replacement? He said same thing. He said, we've got plenty of them right now. So he said, we stocked up on the stuff that Motorola's having to wait for, the GPS chips and stuff like that Motorola's having to wait for, we stocked up on that stuff, so we're good to go.
So which price would we
So-
need to, would it be the 37,442 or the 39?
Actually, if you look at the
386.
quote that, the printed sheet with that's the 16 cameras, we had to order the because the basic package comes with like a little clip where it just clips on. Well, we're going with the magnetic mounts, which is kind of like what we have now. They're more secure, and so we had to pay for those. We would have to pay extra for those, but he did give us, they're normally $99 a piece, and he gave us a discount of $74.25 a piece. I also asked for 4 extra batteries, because they're gonna have them there. The lifespan on the batteries, or daily lifespan on them, they say is anywhere from 15 to 20 hours. But the more of the features you use, the more that it goes down. He said you should be able to get 12 hours out of it, but just in case, I would like to order 4 extra batteries to keep on charge, because I mean, on a full day when we have everybody working, we're gonna have maybe you're gonna have 3 officers working patrol and 1 traffic officer. So there's gonna be 4 officers there. So with the 4 batteries, if all of them had to do a battery change, that would be 4 batteries there. It comes with, you see, it breaks it down for the 2 8-slot docking stations, the computer with a 3-year warranty, all the software and everything, and the backup. With the extras that we added, like the magnetic mounts and stuff like that, and the batteries, instead of being the 37,442, you're looking at the total package with the batteries and stuff would be, and shipping would be $39,386. And that's,
Well, I agree. I think this is important for
Yep.
the
That is it.
citizens of the city,
Absolutely.
police officers,
gotta have
everybody involved. So what
So
do we need to do to,
So, like,
we've
I
got
gave
two-
I
we've
gave
got
you
the
a
2
second
quotes.
quote from Motorola. Same thing, because when we first started talking with Motorola, we was looking at maybe 25 cameras, so we would have backups and stuff like that. Well, that was up there. That was like almost $100,000. So then I started backing down. We got down to 20 cameras. Then we were looking at a cloud-based version instead of an on-site storage thing. We were looking at maybe storing it on the cloud, which it kind of elevated the price. But yesterday I reached out to him again and said, all right, this is what I want. I wanted to compare apples to apples. I said 16 cameras, no, because when I first started with them, I was looking at maybe getting the single docking stations for them to take home. I said, don't put that in there. just the two 8-bay docking stations, the 16 cameras, the on-site storage with backup, and their quote was, you got it there, it's like
64,000.
66,000, something like that,
So-
60.
So Chad, not to cut you off, so I think we're gonna need these cameras. On the agenda, it says grant for these. I guess
Well,
my personal preference, if it's a grant process of you might get it, you might not, and it's a short thing, I think we should just go buy it.
that's the thing, the only grant that we're looking at right now is, the Assistant Chief, Pavellini's been working on it, it's only a $5,000 grant. There was another one that the chief and I was looking at, but we have to go through grants.gov, and we don't have access to apply for it.
So what would we need to do? The deal is hypothetically, defending one lawsuit, it's gonna cost you 40 grand.
I think we all agree that,
So-
that we need to
Jesse,
buy them.
So, he sufficed getting the 2 quotes, so do we have the
Well-
money in their budget to?
I'm not sure, but I was working on the grants, and there is a grant through grants.gov that will pay for all of it.
Right.
It would only cost the city $9,000. So either way, and it's a reimbursable grant, so either way, if we buy them, we possibly could get all of it back except for the 9,000.
So we could buy it out of reserves,
Yes.
because
And then,
it's not budgeted
and
for.
then apply for the grant. That way they get it right now, and then we possibly could get everything reimbursed except for the
Yeah,
9,000.
I'll say we do that.
And
We
then
go
we
ahead
go
and
for
buy
the 5,000 also, so then it only really costs us maybe $3,500.
it.
That works.
It costs 40.
We need it whether there's a grant or not.
So-
Yeah. We need to do a motion to, buy out of reserves,
Or do they need,
or just,
I think so.
or can they just issue a purchase order?
Could I ask a question, to Chad?
Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Hey Chad, if we don't qualify or get the grant, what kind of, budget do we have in the MTF right now?
I don't know, the last I knew, I think there was like 19,000 in there, but we got approval to purchase the fingerprint machine that we haven't purchased yet because of legal language and stuff, but, there was only, I think at that time, there was like 19,000 in it, I think.
Okay, yeah, I was just questioning, but no, I'm definitely move forward on it. Either way, we need to go.
I think we just make a motion to purchase it out of reserves.
And I wanna say this unit, this setup is, one of the only ones that offers the warranty, the training, the technical support. I mean, they give the whole works. So, like, in 2 years, if they having a problem, they can just call them on the phone and the technical services.
And it covered, yeah, the whole 5 years that we're on that plan. The only thing he said, right now, he did say, like, the COPS program that, we're looking at, where we can remote live into it and stuff like that from our cell phones and stuff. Right now, that's free, that's part of the plan. And the whole 5 years that we're on that plan, for this 5 years, it's covered. He said, looking in the future, they're probably gonna start, after that 5 years, they may start charging for that.
Malcolm, do I need to make a motion to amend the agenda?
You could?
I'll make a motion to amend the agenda to approve purchasing the 16 camera system from, Wolfcom in the amount of 39. 39 something, looks like.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second.
39,386.
All right, thank you, Shane, for doing that. We'll vote that motion. Ward 1, Alderman Mr. Burke.
Yes.
Ward 2, Alderman Mr. Richardson.
Yes.
Ward 3, Alderman Mr. LaFontaine.
Yes.
And Ward 4, Alderman Mr. Piazza.
Yes.
Now I'll
Thank
make
you.
the motion to,
Thank you, Chad.
same motion.
Yeah.
Burke seconds.
What was the motion?
The first one was to amend the agenda, this one's to purchase
Okay.
through Wolfcom for 16.
All right,
Units.
Ward 1, Mr. Burke.
Yes.
Ward 2, Mr. Richardson.
Yes.
Ward 3, Mr. LaFontaine.
Yes.
And Ward 4, Mr. Piazza.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Chad.
Mayor, before we move on, can
I'm
we
gonna let you
also,
go ahead.
well, this is about that. Can we go ahead and, get a motion to pursue the grant that, Ms. Kim was talking about?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All right, we'll vote that motion as well. Ward 1, Mr. Burke.
Yes.
Ward 2, Mr. Richardson.
Yes.
Ward 3, Mr. LaFontaine,
Yes.
and Ward 4, Mr. Piazza.
Yes.
Thank you. Malcolm, would you also, sorry, I skipped you over a minute ago.
That's okay.
Would you discuss that planning and zoning issue?
Right. All right, so I think a lot of people are here for the hearings that were scheduled for the planning and zoning hearings that came up at the June 2nd meeting. Those applications were for the following owners: Michael Prendergast for the property at 131 Dogwood Drive, James Thornton for the property at 801 Carroll Street, Chris Jennen for the property at 239 Pine Ridge Drive, Carrie Pellegrin as lessee of the property owned by Larry Tomlinson at 305 North Beach, Catherine and Michael Perito for the property known as 110 Whispering Pines Drive, and Jude and Celeste Photo for the property known as 127 Market Street. That one was actually continued to another meeting. The Planning Commission reviewed the matter at their meeting that they held, their special meeting on June the 2nd. Unfortunately, due to an unexpected illness with the city's zoning officer, David Draz, he was unable to attend the Planning Commission hearing, and the commission was unable at that time to verify whether or not Mr. Draz, as the zoning officer, had mailed out individual notices of the hearing to adjacent or surrounding property owners prior to the meeting, as he is required to do by the city's zoning ordinance. Subsequent to the Planning Commission hearing, I checked into the matter and determined that I could not verify for the commissioners that the individual notices had been mailed to the adjacent property owners and to the surrounding neighborhood. And as a result, I recommended to this board prior to the meeting that all of these cases be sent back to the Planning Commission to have another advertised hearing to ensure that all affected residents could appear and voice their objections, and also to make sure that a proper record could be made so that the Board of Mayor and Alderman could review same at a future hearing. This is my recommendation now to the board. You can go ahead and take these items up individually if you choose to do so under planning and zoning, but I believe that if the greater majority of the people that are here for those purposes, you can go ahead and put their minds at rest that they need to send this back. It's unfortunate, but Mr. Draz is sick, very sick, and he's out for a bit. And as a result, we cannot go forward with it as it is.
My question on it is, you know, a lot of these applications take probably 2 months to get to this point. How long does it take for the notice, the advertising notice?
So the next special meeting that will be called will be on June the 30th. And I've talked to Mr. Meggett and believe that we'll have a quorum, is that right, Mr. Meggett, available for that, to try to expedite the consideration of these applications. Again, I apologize on behalf of the city to all of the people that are affected by this, but unfortunately, to make sure we comply with all the law and the zoning ordinance, we have to do this.
And so, it's gonna be a special meeting that they're gonna pull for the 30th. When can we have a special meeting to bring them before us?
You can actually bring it back up at your first meeting on
In
July,
Yep.
which will
In
be
July.
whatever the
July
first
5th.
Tuesday is.
Shortly thereafter.
I've talked to Jean, and she's gonna, at the code office, she's gonna go ahead and send the advertisement to the newspaper to make sure that it's published at least 15 days prior. And then she's also gonna have the help of Hannah, who's gonna help sending out the notices to all the required property owners hereby,
And so that's all of them?
for all of them.
All level.
All
Right.
of them?
There was one that was on the agenda that was talked about, but actually that one was scheduled for the June 13th meeting. And so that's the regular meeting, and that one was continued until that meeting, okay? That was just an accessory structure on a piece of property.
So it'll come back to us on July 5th.
If that's the first Tuesday,
Yes.
that's right.
First Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you will allow the mayor the agenda to be amended at this point, I would suggest that we take up that consideration of that recommendation at this time, rather than wait till we get to planning and zoning, which is a bit down the agenda.
I'll
Well-
move to amend.
All right. You have a motion
Do I
amendment.
have a second?
Burke,
I'll second.
All right, we'll vote that motion to amend Ward 1, Mr. Burke.
yes.
Ward 2, Mr. Richardson.
Yes.
Ward 3, Mr. LaFontaine.
Yes.
And Ward 4, Mr. Piazza.
Yes.
Okay, now based upon that amendment to the agenda, I would recommend to the board that you go ahead and send back all of the applications that I just mentioned, which is the one from Michael Pendergast, James Thornton, Chris Jenin, Carrie Pellegrin, and Catherine and Michael Perito. And, let me see if there's one more. And Jude and Celeste Photo.
And then
What
the number
about,
13 is
Michael
gonna,
McDonald.
Michael McDonald is gonna be heard on June the 13th.
Okay.
All right,
All right, everybody good with that? Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
Burke seconds.
All right,
Malcolm, I have
Yes.
one question, and I guess it's more, not one thing in particular, but
Yeah.
if something's somebody's asking for a variance,
Yes,
that is adverse public notice in our paper, so Seacoast Echo,
yes,
and mailings getting sent out.
yes.
If it's conditional use, is it just a legal notice, or are mailings required? And I guess
That's
And I
an,
guess the third question is, and I think generally speaking, it's, which we don't have anything, if it's a zoning change, it's probably legal notice and a sign. The only, right? I think we do signs most of the time, but it's more conservancy, not ordinance.
so by state law, the only thing that you're required to do is to advertise in the Seacoast Echo at least 15 days prior to the hearing. The local ordinance that you have for variances and for zoning changes requires specific notice to be sent out, okay? On the variance request, it has to go to the adjacent property owners for rezoning amendments. It's required to go out to a certain distance from the property. I think it's 300 feet, I believe. And then for conditional use, it does not specify that you have to send specific notices to individual owners. However, it appears that the practice has been in the past to send out notices to give, notification to people so that they can be aware. And of course, I'm sure you're all aware at this point that there are a lot of people on some of these applications were not aware at all.
Gotcha.
So now and they want to have their opportunity to be heard, and I recommend that you do that. It's only fair, it's only right, and it's the proper thing to do to make sure that you don't have challenges later
Yeah.
in court and other places.
good?
That's all. Yeah, that's mine.
All right, we'll vote that motion then.
Yes.
Ward 2, Mr. Richardson.
Bobby.
Hey, Bob.
Bobby.
Yes. Yes, I was on mute. Yes.
Okay, sorry. Ward 3, Mr. LaFontaine.
yes.
And Ward 4, Mr. Piazza.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, moving on the agenda.
Let me just mention
Okay,
one
go ahead.
thing, because I see hands popping up out there trying to figure out what just happened, okay? So let me just say this. I know you may want to have comment at this point, but the reality is where you really need to make your comment so that it'll be in the record. This is the important part, in the record. It needs to be at the planning commission meeting that's gonna come up on June the 30th. But if you have specific questions, if you're an applicant, I would recommend that you speak to Jean tomorrow, and we'll be reaching out to some of you applicants and explaining what the impact is and what you've asked for. Some of you, and many of you, had applicants had no objections whatsoever. I see Mr. Thornton back there, and he has something that he has to do on a variance request for the height of his accessory structure. It's going to have to come up anyway at the June 30th meeting, so we can take care of that at that time. He made a proper request for that, but it was not included in the hearing last night. I know that you have probably other questions, but rather than trying to talk about it now, it's really the more appropriate time to do it at the planning commission or call in specifically to the planning office, talk to Jean, and if she can't help you, I'll take up the mantle, okay?
I just want clarification, so all of these matters will be continued to June 30th,
Correct.
Yes,
and that would include the applicant by Carrie Pellegrin,
yes.
Yes.
and that is at 6:30 again?
Mr.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, Mr. Meggett says the meeting will be at 6 o'clock, okay? It
Yes,
will be
ma'am.
in this room, right. Thank you. Yeah.
How will we know if the meeting has changed?
From the 30th? The only way it'll be changed is if you will see a new advertisement go out, okay?
Will it appear in the city's website on the?
It will be on the Seacoast Echo, it'll be posted on the city's website, and we also
Will you send notifications to people?
will send notification. Now, I want you to be aware of the fact that, you know, you may be in the area and expect to get a specific notice, but you may be further out than is required to send notice. So if you're here tonight, then you know about the meeting, so come and attend. If you can't make the meeting on June the 30th, I recommend that you go ahead and write in your objection or letter of support to make sure it's included in the record.
But Malcolm, with those notices though, if we mail out the notices and the date changes, we remail out new notices, correct?
Yeah, if the date
That's what we're talking
changes, there'll be a new advertisement and new notices
Yes.
mailed out, all right?
One more question, Mr. Attorney.
And they'll also put it on Facebook, I'm sure, yes, we'll put it on Facebook as well.
I understand there's been a petition that's been raised with regard to agenda item number 15.
That-
Should I present it to you all here tonight, or should that go to?
That should go to the planning commission. You can file it prior to the hearing with the code official, not the code official, but with Ms. Conrad over here, the clerk. She will take it, not tonight, but wait, give it to her at her office there, and we'll make sure it's included in the package that goes to the planning commissioners, and it will be part of the record. Okay? All right.
Okay,
Malcolm,
thank
I
you.
have one question for you.
Yes, sir.
How close do the residents that live these areas here that are asking for this variance, how close do the other residents need to be in order to get a notice?
Well, for rezoning, it's 300 feet. For variances, it's actually just the adjacent properties. And the conditional use, it's not defined. So I think we're really, Jean, you can maybe answer this better about what the practice has been in the past when they send out notices.
For conditional uses, I believe the practice has just been the adjacent properties. The only time that we send the 300 feet is for zoning changes.
All right. Well, let me just say this. On this particular application, which I think a lot of people are here about, which is the one dealing with Ms. Pellegrin, I'm going to recommend that we go a little further out than the norm to make sure that there's enough notification to everybody to know about it, okay? So we'll probably go ahead and use the 300 foot since that's the typical norm for rezoning. It's
I mean,
not a
that's why-
rezoning.
That's why I asked, so that
Right.
the residents would know.
Right, for that one. Mr. Thomas, I'm sure he's here somewhere, out there. Mr. Thomas?
I don't think Donnie's here.
Okay, Malcolm.
All right, Mr. Thomas was an objector at one of the hearings, not the one for Ms. Pellegrin, and so I'll make sure that we contact him to let him know that this has been rescheduled, because he had a written objection and he appeared at the meeting. All right?
All right, thank you.
Yep.
All right, moving on, C, could I get a motion to amend the agenda to add the following items listed? Huh?
Can you wait till I get out? Just so-
Okay. Yes,
Sure,
ma'am.
John.
Thank y'all. Sorry you had to come for that, but
Sure.
But changing something that has never been a practice and all of a sudden it is, how is that fair to our, so we're trying to figure this out. So we're now saying because there's an application that we don't want to oppose, we're now gonna make it a 300. It's never, Joe said it's never been a practice, why now?
The truth is that John doesn't really know what the practice is, because I asked Mr. Dave, and Mr. Dave spread it out further than just the adjacent property. So he tried to cover the neighborhood, so I don't see us doing something different. All right, thank you. Yep.
You need ballots?
all right. Motion to amend the agenda to approve to adding the following items that actually come in after the close shut-off date, listed 1 through 7.
I'll move.
Second.
All right, and this is to amend. Ward 1, Mr. Burke.
Yes.
Ward 2, Mr. Richardson.
Yes.
Ward 3, Mr. LaFontaine.
Yes.
And Ward 4, Mr. Piazza.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, Alderman's comments, Ward 1,
Well,
Mr. Burke.
That was to
Wait,
the
Mayor.
amended
Oh, I'm
agenda.
sorry.
I'll
I'm
make-
sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve 1 through
Okay.
7.
I'll second.
All right, we'll vote that motion. Ward 1, Mr. Burke.
Yes.
Ward 2, Mr. Richardson.
Yes.
Ward 3, Mr. LaFontaine.
Yes.
And Ward 4, Mr. Piazza.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Now that's, Tammy, you want those under the consent agenda?
Well, they just approved them,
We're just
Okay.
voting on
so we're good.
Okay. All right, Alderman's comments, Ward 1.
No, sir, I got everything answered prior.
All right, sir, thank you. Ward 2, Mr. Richardson.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I apologize for not being an attending person. I am attending my daughter's last high school softball game representing Bay High in the East-West All-Star game tonight.
Yeah.
And the only thing I have, maybe Jeremy can answer it. Did we used to have a dumpster in that area at the lighthouse?
That'd be a Willie quick.
That'd be a Willie question.
I wanna
Yeah,
say years ago, they used to have one at the very end where the
Here.
where the pier was.
Here. That's
Yeah.
where it was.
'Cause I know we have an enclosure there that's a wooden enclosure there. The reason why I say it, Sunday evening at the Memorial Weekend, there wasn't a lot of litter on the ground, but the garbage cans were overfilled and they were stacking garbage on side of them. So I was just thinking we should have a dumpster there for that reason.
Well, normally it's not an issue.
Do we, and I guess, does somebody service that area in the weekend? It might
Yeah,
not be a bad plan.
Hannah does.
Might not be a bad plan if we actually get a dumpster down there, build a gate, put a lock on it so it's Waveland use only, so.
It's in the works.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
And we
Yeah,
have
I think
enclosed
there's-
areas anyway.
Also, I
Yeah, I
noticed
think there
something.
is a spot for one.
Go ahead, Hannah.
But yeah,
Also-
if we can check into that, that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, Hannah.
I noticed something else over the weekend. People say that sewer is leaking out of the, but it's not sewer. People are going into the fence and using that faucet. So that's water people are washing off with. It's
Thanks
not
for
sewer.
clarifying that.
Yeah.
And Lily's answering, saying yes.
Okay.
He's working on it.
And while we're that close to the pier, I do want to say, and Kimberly, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of people will know why the pier is just sitting and not fixed. It's certainly not because of us. It's because FEMA requirements, and they required an environmental assessment. The environmental assessment is completed. Now they have
135 days.
135 days to write an environmental opinion. And that's because of a new type of manatee that they discovered in the Gulf of Mexico. So that's what's holding the pier up. It's not the city, it's FEMA will not release those funds until that opinion is written.
Yeah.
So, and it's gotta be done by the National Wildlife Service. Sir,
Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Parking lot at the pier?
I'm sorry?
Could we get the parking lot and the pavilions at the pier up and running?
It's one piece.
Well, that's all, it's all one project.
We can't, as a city, decide to say, hey, we're gonna.
We
solve
can.
this problem.
We can, but
We got money, it's our biggest thing in our city.
it's
We
not,
can, but then again, we might not get reimbursed for
we're
it.
not gonna get reimbursed.
Well, just that one portion, right?
Yeah, but that's
Yeah,
not,
but
it's
it's all
more than what you
considered
think
one.
though. And look, this repair includes mitigation as well, to where that won't happen anymore. All right, Bobby, sorry to cut you off, buddy, go ahead.
That's all right, Mr. Mayor. I had a question on that. Even though we're not disturbing the water bottom, is that still in effect, that study?
Yes. That is what FEMA is, they're dead set on that. I argued with them the other day up here. And they will not do anything without that environmental opinion. They won't even allocate the money until that's done.
Wow. All right, yeah, that's the only question I had on that.
Okay,
Since we won't be messing with pilots, really.
no. All right,
Can I speak?
Thank
now?
you.
yeah, you can speak if you want to.
So, Bobby, I hope you can hear me. I'll try to speak up. What it amounts
I
to
can hear you.
is there's an Endangered Species Act. It's a federal law, and that triggers the supervision of the United States Fish and Wildlife Service, and that triggers the requirement of doing the environmental assessment and then the biological opinion. So, all of that has to be met before anything can be done, and that project can be commenced. But the good news is that the time frame has been triggered, and so that's taken a long time to get to this point. But I attended a meeting with the mayor and with Ms. Boucher, and we were assured that that has finally been done and completed, and we're just waiting for the comment period to expire.
And if you remember, and I don't know if many people remember, I do, in 2012, when Hurricane Isaac hit, destroyed the pier, we cut the ribbon on that, if y'all remember, in 2015 after we took office. So it took better than 2 years to get that pier repaired. That's just FEMA's processes.
Yeah.
Nothing we can do about it. So,
Mr. Mayor.
yes,
Could we get to a point as a city where we weren't reliant on FEMA, where we don't have this embarrassment? It's pathetic.
oh, I
Is
agree.
that the only way to do things, is sit back and wait on FEMA?
Well,
I don't understand. At some point, we have to just say, okay, FEMA owns Waveland.
hey, look, I certainly don't mind taking the money we have and going to repair it. I don't.
We do mind,
But
or we would have done it.
the problem is, it's going to get tore up, I guarantee you, if a storm hits this year. It has been proven that every time that a good storm hit, it tears the pier up.
Not if we change the pier. That pier was designed to fail. It was designed to fail. It was what I've been told, because.
Well,
of the water
it does what it was designed to do.
Change it to a jetty and let's the city take control of our future. We gotta change how we do this. I mean, basically, we have blight on the beach and we're not doing anything about it.
Well, kids are
Look, I know y'all
jumping
work
off of
hard
it.
on the forms.
Yeah. Look, I wish there was a better way.
There's a
I
lot
do.
better way, and it starts here.
Thought process and a conversation that one can have to bring ideas, okay, any individuals who have some understanding on how to build a code.
Yeah, I hate, I know, the microphone is a biggie. But look, anytime you got ideas or opinions, my phone number is out everywhere. Somebody posted the wrong phone number on Facebook today, but it's 493-6643.
He does answer, because he still answers my call.
I'll get back to you, I promise you. Now, I can show you, you can have a call log and certainly see how many calls I take. Mr. J?
It's the wrong number on the city website.
I'm sorry?
It's the wrong phone number on the city website.
Yeah, well, that's my office number, it's 1390, but that's the wrong phone number. That's what I just said a second ago. Yeah, that's why I gave 228-493-6643. And I do a whole lot better by text messages. That way, if I'm in a meeting, I don't have to ignore you, I can answer you back. But you got ideas and opinions, please, let me know. Call me. Even if you wanna, excuse my French, you wanna bitch me out, that's okay too. I'll listen all day long.
Well, one question,
Okay, sir?
is that a manatee they worried about?
Manta ray. It's a new species of manta ray. I haven't seen it, I don't know what it is. So, I haven't seen it around up here.
You're gonna build a marina around the manta ray?
Did you do Alderman commentary?
Well, anything that you build, huh? All right, moving on, Ward 3, Mr. LaFontaine.
Yeah, I've got a couple things. One is, what's the status of the AC in here?
A part has been ordered, right, Tammy? Tammy knows
Yes,
better than I do.
I talked to Miss Catherine the other day about it, and she's talked with Ray C. Weaver, and he keeps telling her the part's on order. I guess it's one of those back-ordered electronic
Probably
items.
stuck in a container somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the other thing is, how are we auditing the meter reading? When the guys go out and ride, how do we audit that to see that everything's being read?
Julie does
Julie,
that.
It'll,
It shows
as they
what's
go
red and what's
by,
not red.
it'll show on her accounts. She can actually watch on her accounts as he goes by to make sure, and when he's finished, she does a reconciliation that we started, and it'll tell her how many clients that he did and how many clients she's billing out.
All right, along those lines, I get calls about meter readers, people questioning whether their meter's actually being read. And, this past reading, somebody actually filled a swimming pool, called me and said they only got billed for like, almost the minimum gallons. So, I'm trying to figure out if we're auditing this or if we're reading this, how is that possible?
I know she'll take her reports, actually, she'll
No.
sit at home
No,
with them.
I don't know actually
in the
like the
quiet.
actual readings. I don't know
Yeah.
that part. I just know that we're billing the people, the amount of people to the amount
We need
of
to,
meters.
Households.
audit the
Households.
field, we need to audit the field readings and make sure that everything is reading properly.
Yeah, I'm sure she does that. Cause she's pretty good. She really is. I'm proud of what she does.
And then the only other thing I got is, Bo, question for you, what do we do with the dirt that we dig out of the ditches? Unless a citizen asks for it?
Bo,
Can you come up?
thank you.
There's times in the past we had to go back and pick it up, so we send it to the dump. But there's times if someone asks for it, we might give it to them. Or I've seen time put it on the backside of the ditch.
My question with that is, is that available to all citizens, or is it just some, or, if we're gonna make dirt
To me,
accessible,
I think if you dig that dirt up, it's contaminated.
Right.
see, that's what I thought from years ago, but, somebody asked me if the city of Waveland's giving away dirt, and so I'm
Well,
trying to find out if we give dirt away,
You
is it
asked me, and
available to everybody
the
or just
answer
certain
was no,
people?
but, I think you asked me that question. And I said no, but as far as I knew, it's all contaminated and it has to go to,
To the dump.
yeah. So, but we do use the auger, which takes that same dirt and throws it on the backside of the ditch as well.
Right.
All I'm asking is two things. One is, if we're gonna give dirt away, make it accessible to whoever wants it, not just, somebody
I agree
who
with that.
knows that they can reach out to
But
Bo
I
or
don't think
whoever
we
and get
can give it
dirt.
away.
We
That's
make
the
it
whole
accessible
point.
to everyone, or if we're not gonna do it, we don't give it to anyone. We
I
haul
don't
it
think
all
we-
off. It's
I don't
got-
think
it's
we
got a-
can
We'll
give
make
it-
across the board, we just won't give it to anybody.
I don't
I'll
think
make
we
sure it
can
goes to the
anyway,
dump,
can
and if anybody gives it away, we catch them, we take care of it from there.
I mean,
So, may I speak?
yeah, please.
All right, so here's the deal. If we're gonna go ahead and give away dirt, then we need to adopt a policy and declare this, we'll call it ditch dirt, as surplus. All right? And then there's certain parameters on how it can be disposed of. In other words, if it's somebody that's their property right there and they wanna take it, that's fine. But you can't spread it. It's gotta be just dumped, and they gotta deal with it themselves. If you want someone that's gonna like, say, I'm taking the dirt from here, but I live back over there, you can't haul it to their property, okay? If you have a place that you stockpile it at the Public Works barn or some other location, and you allow people to come in and get it, then you can do that, but they have to have their own, equipment to load it and haul it. The city can't be responsible for loading or hauling, okay?
Yes.
And will there be a
So-
limit on it? Because if
You-
that's the case, if somebody with a dump truck and a backhoe go back there and load the
Right.
whole thing up.
They can, and that's one of the reasons why you have to be careful about how you allow this to occur. But the first part is you gotta adopt a policy, put it on the minutes, and decide how you're gonna allow it to be dealt with.
And I
Either
don't
you-
think we need to do it because it's
Yeah.
contaminated dirt.
And on top of that, if we get on private property, something happens. So,
Well, we can't get on private property.
right.
Well,
So,
you can dispose of it on private property if you have it in your policy. I'm just saying you can't spread it, you can't drive it great distances. It has to be something that's close by to, you know, that's, and then usually we require people to give us a right of entry to do that.
That's what I'm saying. We can't just
Right.
go on private property.
Yeah. And that if it's gonna be disposed of, they have to,
I
you
think
know,
the
sign
policy
that.
should be, we don't give away
I
dirt.
believe so, that'd be the best thing.
Yeah. I
'Cause
don't know.
There's oil, there's gases, there's all, whatever in the
Right.
ditch.
Anyway, I'm not suggesting that you do it or not do it. I'm just saying if you do decide to do it, then I need to work on a policy.
I agree. And I
Okay.
think, like I said, it should be advertised that if you want it, there
Right.
it is. But if it is contaminated and we're taking on liabilities, then that's
Yeah.
a whole nother issue.
Yeah.
Well, just like if we go, I thought it was easy to dig out Jackson Marsh.
Yep.
That mud that's taken out of Jackson Marsh cannot just go anywhere.
Yep.
It's gotta go to a certified landfill, and the dirt has to be tested
Right.
to make sure that it's not, because they had a camper trailer stuck in there for some time.
Well, I guess until we figure it out which way we're gonna go.
We just
right
don't
now,
give away
We just
dirt.
don't give away dirt.
We don't give away dirt.
We cannot give away dirt until we
That's right.
adopt a policy on the agenda, so just communicate that to your men.
Will do.
Thank you.
Thank
That's
you,
all I
Bud.
got, Mayor.
All right, buddy, thank you. Ward 4?
Yeah, Mayor, I have one thing. I'd like to see about the city extending the gas line on Beach Boulevard down to at least the, Gulfside property line. We got 4 houses that wanna be built down there, and each one of these residents want gas.
And so I thought that in 2006, the gas line was ran all the way to the casino
Not down the beach.
for the purpose of, you know, because I just remember that. And so it goes down to Dane Road, but then it goes up to South Street and that way, Bo? Is that how it goes?
Gas line stops about 200 feet past Dane. The one that comes on South Street comes across the track at Sears, goes down, was it Dogwood?
Nope,
Wood Street.
goes
Wood
down.
Street, goes down Wood Street, hits South Street, then go up to Ior, then it goes down the beach.
Down Ior to the beach.
Yes.
So there's an empty spot between Ior and Dane,
Yeah.
basically 200 feet, that has no gas line.
Right. It stops right, I think it's
I looked at
Susie
the map
Kier's house.
yesterday. There's no gas line there.
And how far is it from where the gas
800
line
feet.
stops to where you want to run it to?
How many?
Charles?
800 feet.
Is that to the Gulfside property line?
No, that was to that residents that wanted the gas.
Okay.
So if you go to Gulfside, you're looking at, I'll give you a number tomorrow.
Yeah, I
Alright.
think,
Why don't you get an estimate, Bo, and come back to, you know, a future meeting to discuss whether or not they want to extend the line.
is that something you would do in-house or we?
No, sir, not on the beach.
All right, so then why don't you get a task order?
Just get an
We'll do it
estimate
that
from the
way.
engineering firm, see what
Yeah.
it costs.
All right. All right, is that it, Charlie?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Bo, give me a measurement on that tomorrow. Thank you.
All right, we have any public comments?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Kim.
Thank you.
Is Mr. Thompson on first?
He is not coming. I emailed him
Okay.
prior to the meeting and let him know.
All right, first one on the agenda is Miss Kathleen Johnson.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here tonight, and this is a little longer than the 3 minutes, but I'm going to ask for your patience, and I'll make it as quick as I can. First of all, I want to thank you all for approving the artists to use the Waveland City Hall to hang their art. But sadly, there's been a whole slew of problems getting that accomplished, and I'd like to go through how that has come down.
Excuse me, Ms. Johnson, they can't hear you back there, they're all motioning.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, this is going to be hard.
Yeah.
I'll hold this up. Will that work? Okay, so it was approved late in April, and I didn't get any notice from City Hall until after I contacted Mr. Piazza. I got notice that it had been approved on April 6th. And I was advised at that time that I had to use gallery hangers and that the show had to be juried. I wasn't surprised that the show had to be juried, but I'd never heard of it before, so I asked Mr. Piazza why it was going to be juried.
Now, by jury, do you mean looked at?
Look at the paintings and decide which ones were going to go
Now,
up.
I can explain that very easily.
Can I
because-
finish all of this
Well,
before?
let me explain that as we go, if you don't mind. Because in a previous art show here that we allowed to have here, there was a display case with, to me, I thought was inappropriate. I don't know, I'll say skeleton of a small looking person, child maybe, and it was inappropriate for City Hall, to me.
And I had told my artist no nudes and no politics because I wasn't going down that road.
And that's all I didn't want to see, that type of stuff.
Okay, well, let me finish because that's not quite where this went. So Mr. Piazza came down to City Hall to talk to Miss Tammy about why it had to be juried. And what Miss Tammy told Mr. Charles was that because there were some paintings downstairs with black people in them.
That's not what
And I took that with a grain of salt. Let me finish the whole thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
Because
let
I'm
me
going to tell
finish.
you, Tammy never says that.
Yeah. Excuse me, let Charles answer that.
That's what I was told.
Thank you, Mr. Charles.
The mayor wants to jury the paintings because he said that there was some black paintings in there that he felt was inappropriate.
When Mayor Garsha was in office, they
Not me.
offended some of our employees.
Right.
That was Mayor Garsha.
You
It
didn't
wasn't me.
state
They
Mayor
offended
Goshen.
some, yes. I'm sorry?
You did not state Mayor Goshen.
I'm sorry,
But
Alderman.
it wasn't me,
Piazza.
I can promise.
It was when Mayor Garsha was in office, and I apologize.
Okay. So I responded and asked how many hangers there were, and there was no response to that email. And on May 9th, I got the letter from Tammy saying that they had to jury the show, and I had no problem with that. But I did check on the story. There's 13,000 people in my group on Facebook. I've got deep reaches into Hancock County. And what did come up was that the Alice Mosley exhibit had been removed because it was racist. That did come up.
But not by, who was that removed by?
I don't know. I was told it was Christmas decorations. That's why they took it down
No,
during their
no,
Christmas
and-
competition.
I was also told, I really would like to finish this. It's very hard to finish it.
If you don't, yeah,
Yeah.
because it's going to be a long night,
Yeah,
so go
yeah,
ahead.
so let me finish this. So the Alice Mosey exhibit was taken down a year ago. It's been a long time. And I came through at Christmas on December 19th. There were no Alice Mosley prints in the hallway. There were hangers hanging there empty across the whole hallway. And there were no Christmas decorations up on December 19th of 2021 period. And the reason we remember that is we had a festival that day on Coleman Avenue, and there were about 50 artists there, 400 customers, and we were using City Hall for the bathroom. So we had to walk down that hall, and we all commented, what a shame the hall was empty. And more to the point, we were having a Christmas celebration and there were no decorations. Miss Tammy, you wrote to me and you said that the decorations, that the Alice Mosey exhibit was taken down to put up Christmas decorations.
That's what I was told.
But no decorations were ever put up downstairs, period. So time and time again, through the month of May, I asked, where are the hangers for the art in City Hall? And I was told to go downstairs and count them myself. There were 4. And I couldn't get an answer as to where the rest of those hangers were. And time again, I asked, who do I talk to? Who's got the box of the hangers? The hangers have to be somewhere. It's about $500. And not once was I given direction of where I could go to find those hangers. This is a $500 loss. This was a mutual sharing thing with Hancock Arts. Not reported to the police, and I was given no relief of how to handle this, except I was told I could go buy the hangers for $500 plus. I could put them up. I had to sign a waiver, which meant I had to go up and down a 10-foot ladder 35 times to put up something that was taken down without anybody's authorization. It was a city issue. It wasn't my issue.
I'll find those hangers for you. Because Tammy didn't take them down. She don't know where they're at. I didn't take them down, and I didn't authorize them to be taken down. So I can't answer your questions.
I
All
know,
can
but you've
tell
had
you-
6 weeks, Mr. Mayor, and I have been asking for 6
Ma'am,
weeks. And I know you're
understand.
busy.
There's been a lot of people asking for things for 6 weeks. I mean, I'll get you the answer. And I think it was pretty nice of the board and I to allow art to be hung down on the walls anyway.
You've been doing that for years here. That's
Well,
why the
we
hangers were
have.
put, that's why the hangers were put up.
That's right.
So that we all could share out of
That's
City
right,
Hall.
and we wanted y'all to, and I did, and I do now.
I know,
But
but we need, when I
I
contact City
understand
Hall.
you need hangers, and I don't know where the hangers are, but I will do my best to find the hangers for you.
Yeah, but
Tammy did not take them, and so to point fingers at Tammy, it upsets me because I know
No,
that's
Tammy
not.
wasn't coming up with the answers. In other words, since there were no hangers, there needed to be a resolution. In other words, let's try and find the hangers, which never
Well,
happened.
that was, yeah, and
That-
I agree, but that wasn't high on my radar. Because a lot of other things in the city are, and finding those hangers were not. But I will find those hangers. You have my promise tonight. It's
Okay,
on
thank
record.
you. Well, I appreciate that. The second thing that came up was I asked that we be allowed to set up out on the street the art that couldn't hang on the wall. And I asked for that so that they could take out a few pieces of their sculptured art and put on a table. And while they were out there, be allowed to talk about the creative economy and the art circuit. We always talk about gallery shows, but we don't talk about the 60,000 artists in Mississippi that are out on the art circuit. And that was turned down. But what bothered me about that was that Tammy shared with me that the city wanted, that the lady that runs Food Truck Friday wanted to keep Coleman pure. She said it to me on a phone call, and she put it in writing, and she said that Food Truck Friday doesn't want anybody else out on the street while she does Food Truck Friday. We set up our reception so that we could use Food Truck Friday instead of bringing finger food. I told the 30 artists, I said, it makes no sense to bring food when the food is provided once a month on that street. What bothered me about that the biggest objector to that was you, Mr. Burke, and you're married to the woman that runs it. I thought in Mississippi that if you were related in any way, you had to recuse yourself from the discussion, leave the room, and you couldn't vote. I don't understand how you could vote on that and even offer suggestions to keep us off the street when your wife was advocating with Miss Tammy to keep us off the street.
I don't know that to be true, though. I don't know that
Well,
to
then
be
maybe
true.
we'll have to file it with the Ethics Commission and ask them.
That's fine. Yeah,
I'm not mad at you, I just want you to do
No, I'm
what's
waiting for you
right.
to finish your 3 minutes.
Yeah,
We didn't want to
You
interrupt
asked,
sir.
you asked not to be interrupted. Very clearly, you said you don't want to be interrupted, so he's going to wait for you to finish.
okay, thank you
Yes.
very much, I
You're
appreciate,
welcome.
I appreciate that.
You
Malcolm.
asked for that.
So I really would like to see this process smoothed up. I realize you're busy at City Hall, but that doesn't mean you don't answer emails. And you put obstructions in the way for something that we had got permission to do. We got permission to put up a show. But what happened along the way was all sorts of obstructions. Now, I know the hangars didn't get taken down by Public Works. I know that Hancock Arts didn't take down the hangars. But day 3, when I said I can't find the hangars, I got no assurance from anybody in City Hall that you were going to go do something about it. And that's all I'm concerned about.
okay. I promised you I'd go find the hangers.
Okay, we were supposed to hang June 1st, which we couldn't do.
Okay.
The other thing is we had no intention of selling anything at that show, and I had told the artists that, nor had we any intention to sell outside. We were only going to be out there an hour and a half while everybody ate. We were advised to get a tax license, which we don't need because we're not going to sell anything.
Well, I think you've been very clear, Ms. Kathleen, and I appreciate it.
Okay,
Appreciate your honesty.
okay. But it's always been my way. Also, I hope you can deal with Alice Mosley and the assertions that those were taken down. Unfortunately, the lady that did take them down bragged about it in Bay St. Louis and actually expressed exactly why she took all those paintings down, because she felt they were racial. And it reflects back on all of us.
It certainly does.
Mr. Piazza has already said that Tammy stated to us that part of the reason we had to be juried was because there were black people in those paintings. And it's really not fair.
I've never heard that. I swear,
It
I've
was
never heard that.
offensive artwork to a few of our employees. One of them's texting me right now. And when Mayor Garcia was in office, they had to be removed because 3 of our employees came to him and asked him to remove them because it was very
Mr. Garcia wasn't in office when Alice Mosley was removed.
That I can't answer to the Alice
I know.
Mosley stuff or the hangers.
I know, well, I'd
I
like,
told you I
I'd
can't
like
answer
to
to
know
that.
what happened. That's
I'll
all I'm
find out.
asking. And
I'll
I'd like
find
to
out.
see things streamlined so it's easier.
I'll find out.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you, Ms. Kathleen.
Thank you very much. Did anybody have a question? Thank you.
Ms. McComb?
Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wait, do you have a comment you want to make?
No, I don't think there needs to be a comment. I think
All right,
she was speaking of a City of Waveland sponsored event that
right.
I think everybody has a part of in Waveland. You know, it's in like Christmas, like our Christmas tree lightings and stuff like that, where a lot of our spouses help out with city events, and I think everybody votes on them, so.
Right.
I know.
No, I mean, let me tell you, Kristen volunteers and
To
works
help out
hard.
City of Waveland,
to help
and it
out the
wasn't
city.
It wasn't the only event. If it wasn't for community volunteers, I'm not talking about Kristen Tusa. I'm talking about.
But
there's
you
a
can't leave her out. I mean,
There's a plethora of people. There's a plethora of people that has worked with. I know we said disparagingly, it seems like throwing people in the mud. Hancock Arts has helped us out over the years. They have decorated the hallway. They have never complained about a hanger. They have never complained about anything. Anything we've done, they've always asked. I just find it strange that one person has all these issues with it. Just strange. I mean, it's just odd that they've never had an issue with any of this until now.
I agree with you.
Right.
All right, Ms. McComb?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Alderman. First, I have a question for Ms. Tammy only. Ms. Tammy, when someone requests to be put on the agenda, what is the process? Who decides what gets approved to be on the agenda?
They send an email
Okay.
to me, or they'll bring in a letter
Okay.
to be on the agenda.
Okay. And who approves the agenda of what's put on the agenda?
Normally, I'll put all of the requests that are
Mhm.
given, and then the mayor and Malcolm and I will go over the agenda. But they don't remove.
So
anything.
our city attorney has a hand in approving what gets on the agenda?
No, ma'am.
The language.
I'm talking to Ms. Tammy. I have the
I
floor right now.
understand.
Thank you.
Just
understand.
how I've worded it, he just wants to make sure that it's, that I've done it in a proper manner.
Okay, okay. Interesting.
Ms. McComb, by the way, by law, the Board of Aldermen ultimately decide what goes on the agenda, and that includes the mayor.
Okay, the Board of Aldermen and the mayor. Okay,
Correct.
that's the answer I wanted to hear.
That's who
Okay?
controls the
They
agenda.
control the agenda.
Okay, that's it, that's what I wanted to hear.
Right.
Okay. The statement I want to make here, again, this is me talking to the mayor and the aldermen, okay? We, the people, voted to elect a mayor and 4 aldermen to run this city and to represent us and the city, what is the best interest of us, we the people, okay? We did not elect anyone else to run this city except the 4 of you, the 5 of you, okay? We hold y'all responsible for everything that goes on in this city. And I'm gonna be real frank with y'all. In the last 3.5 years, we've had a lot of turmoil in this city, a lot to do with, basically, a lot of it is to do with city employees. City employees that get a slap on the hand, but then other employees can do the same thing or something less and they get fired. We've had enough of this. Okay? We want to put y'all on notice. We have an election coming up, and we, the people, are looking at change, big change. There's a lack of transparency from our elected employees. I hear it every day. I talk to these people out here, and I hear it every day. Wonder why they don't do this. Wonder why this is covered up. Wonder, there's just too much stuff going on, okay? And basically, we the people have lost confidence in our elected employees. And I know each one of y'all, and I look on every one of y'all as a friend, but this is business, and this is our city, and we expect y'all to do what is right for the employees in our city. Okay? Everything that we've talked about has happened on y'all's watch. And we want to see some changes, some drastic changes. This is an election year, and there's going to be so many issues that people are going to be looking at. And when there's no consistency, you're giving your potential opponents ammunition to use against you come election time. I think y'all understand that, okay? The next thing that I would like to ask about is, when can we expect our city website to be completed? We still have a person who is no longer employed showing us our city clerk. We never get the planning and zoning. The last time planning and zoning agenda was put on the website was December the 13th, 2021. That's why these people were out here today, is because they didn't know, they had nothing on the website to tell them what was going on. So they had to come in here. It's the first time I've seen this room filled up since we've been using this room. This reminded me, Charlie, you remember the schoolhouse and the old trailer that we met in after post-Katrina and over at the bank? There was standing room only. The people of Waveland were concerned, and they were involved. It's gone by the wayside, okay? And but I've noticed more and more people are getting involved again, okay? One thing, a few weeks ago, we had a former city attorney come in to represent someone who was appealing a ruling, okay? And that former city attorney made a statement that none of you were here. I think Charlie was probably the only one that was here. Miss Tammy was here at that time. Is one of the largest lawsuits that this city ever had to fight was because of inconsistency from our elected employees going against the city charter, the manuals that we have in place for planning and zoning, for whatever, okay, inconsistencies. And it cost us money.
Yeah, it did.
And it behooves all of y'all to make sure that we are consistent with everything, that y'all are consistent with everything you do. Thank y'all.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Prima Luke?
Before she comes up, I got one question.
Okay, go ahead.
It was stated that the Alderman approved the agenda.
I said you have control of the
Control,
agenda.
not approved.
You have the
You can-
control. You have
Y'all,
the,
yeah, go ahead. You
I'm
can
sorry.
explain.
You have the right to control, so you can determine whether something's on the agenda or off of the agenda, okay? It's presented to you, of course, by,
But we get the agenda the same time it goes on the public
correct.
website.
Correct. But ultimately, the
Okay.
Board of Aldermen and the mayor have the authority to vote what is on the agenda. That's by Attorney General's opinions, many, many of them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If one alderman wants it on the agenda, does it have to be on the agenda?
It does. Yeah, the mayor, if an alderman, a single alderman requests something to be on the agenda, the mayor cannot prevent that from being on the agenda.
And I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a rule that all cities abide by.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's it?
Now, let me ask this question. I'm sorry, Ms.
That's
Prima.
all right, you go on,
I'm sorry
Charlie.
to delay you.
I want you to be able to talk.
All right.
Believe me, I'll wait for you.
Now, my question is, if we wanted to take something off during the meeting, one alderman or the mayor just can't say it has, I want to take that off. It has to be approved by 3/4 of the board, am I correct?
By a majority. of the
Yeah.
vote.
By majority,
Yeah.
that's right.
By a majority vote. That's right.
Okay,
Once-
thank you.
Is that
Once-
put off or put on or
To
both?
take off.
Either or.
Right.
I
So
mean-
once the agenda deadline has come and passed and
Yes.
it's set, and you'll notice that the mayor has like a motion to amend, that's what it takes, you know, a motion to amend, and that's why we go through that procedure, okay?
The agenda online was different than the one in the back of the room. So, anyway, Brenda took up most of my questions, and a lot of it had to do with the website, because a big selling point was the email alerts to where people would know it would happen. And I know you put it on Facebook, but really, it's kind of vain to think that people are going to go look at your Facebook page to find out what's going on. We need alerts. And I was glad to see everybody out tonight, even though a lot left. This is about 10 times as many people as we usually have here, so maybe everybody will keep coming and watch what's going on. Also, we skip over stuff, we talk about stuff, and then the next meeting it's gone. I'd like to know we have any updates on the paving, because all of a sudden, everything stopped paving. Is that all of the paving that we have done? The drainage, we had Jason come in, didn't hear anything else about that. And another thing is I'm sure we can't do anything about it, we're stuck with it. The trash company sucks, and it's twice as much. And we should have had some more public input on that before some people got their friends to get the contract, so, that's all.
Bo, can you answer about the paving?
The paving list has been complete, the one that you guys gave us, and the new ones. The striping, that's the only thing we're waiting on, the striping, it's Old Spanish Trail, it's the niggas.
Maybe we can find a paver that knows how to make the road even with the manhole covers. It really, it's
Well-
ridiculous. I'm talking about the city, everywhere you go. Old Spanish Trail, that's a wreck. And if you're telling me that's finished, no, it's not. Central, that's not, that's all the paving project? That's beautiful. That was a Band-Aid, really. And even on Central, there was a thing dug out to get some kind of utility across. Well, I'm sure somebody called. Now it's turned into a speed bump. You know, it's that much higher than the road. It's terrible. It really is. So, anyway,
No,
this is my place. I would rather bitch you in front of y'all than on Facebook.
Thank you.
So, there you go.
All right, Mr. Bob Martin?
Good evening, Mayor, Alderman. Appreciate the time to speak. I'm having second thoughts about our mowing contract. I'd ask you to reconsider, revisit that contract. We were told in the beginning that the contract would consist of the city being mowed every 6 to 8 weeks. Am I correct?
It's
Eight times.
eight times a year.
8 times
Yeah.
and 22 on
Yeah, in
highway,
the parks, that's right.
parks, cemetery.
Cemetery.
All right, it's been 10 weeks into the contract now, and I've contacted the alderman verbally and in writing about Nicholson, Hoffman, and Sonier. And to date, neither one of them have been addressed. If you need visual proof, I brought it with me this evening. They were taken this morning. But I'm at a point where the landowners are mowing the right-of-way. We can't do the ditches. He's sitting dead in front of me.
Did you, Mr.
Didn't I contacted Jeremy.
No, we,
I did in writing. I contacted
Contacted me.
Shane. Shane said he contacted the mower.
He was supposed
He
to
said he'd be there last Friday or Saturday to do it.
Mr. Martin, you said Nicholson, Hoffman, and what was the last?
Sonier.
Sonier.
And rather than bother Shane over the weekend, I said, well, I'll just come down here and ask you to revisit, take another look at the mowing contract. Maybe we need to go back to using our employees. Thank you very much. I appreciate
Thank you,
your
Mr.
time.
Bob. Really appreciate that.
Sonier, okay.
All right, Ms. Rhonda Gabriel. Jesus, I might need to take a break.
What can I tell you? All right. Just to quote the ordinance number 326 amended, states that matters to be placed on the agenda by mayor and aldermen, employees, city attorney, and citizens. Citizen matters to be placed on the agenda are subject to approval of the city clerk or the mayor. All matters to be placed on the agenda must be delivered in writing to the city clerk no later than 11 a.m. the preceding Wednesday. So that's the ordinance answer to the agenda, just for the record. I think that I just have something that I've prepared and I want everybody to have. I think the most important document in this city is the charter. Since we operate, we're not codified, we operate under a private charter, a separate special charter, one of only a few cities in the state that do that. I asked for a copy through public record request of the charter, since that's, tells us how we're supposed to operate. And there, when we found the charter book, there wasn't anything in it. Tammy went through everything, found every document she could put her hands on. And there is a charter on the website, but it's convoluted. It's just a big old cluster. It's ridiculous. So I took all the documents that I could get my hands on for the charter out from 1888 to now, and I have prepared an updated charter. In 1988, Lucian Jex took the charter and he kind of made it look like the Mississippi Code. He itemized everything, he brought it up to date so it was easy, it had an index in the front of it, but it hadn't been touched since then. So I started with his, verified all the documents that were in his, going back to 1888, and then I took all of the documents that we had since then and incorporated them. And I now have an updated charter that I want to give each of you. What Lucian Jex did was, when he prepared this document, he presented it to the board, and the board voted on it and made it part of, just made it an official record. So that way the public can, if they want to find something in our charter, they can go to an index, they can go to it, we can put it on the website, and we can all work off the same document. Because what concerns me is, you know, we make decisions, we get advice, we do all these things, and if we don't have a proper up-to-date charter, it's like, you know, making a decision on part of the law that we don't have a copy of. So I want to provide each of you with this, and Malcolm, I've got one for you, and I would really appreciate it if y'all would consider this, look at it closely, and consider voting on this and making it a part of the record so that we can, you know, make whatever changes you want to make, but making it a part of the record so we can put it on the website and make our charter easier to understand and to see what we've actually got.
Thank you, Ms. Rhonda. She's been at City Hall
Thank you.
working so hard. She has.
I know she's been up here all week this
Yeah,
week.
She's been going through.
Aggravating them.
No,
Not at all.
no.
I appreciate it.
Working hard to get it right.
Well,
and-
you
and I
know,
appreciate that.
there's an old saying, you can be part of the problem, or you could be part of the solution. I want to be part of the solution. So I think where we start is at the beginning, and our charter is the most important document that we've got.
And what you haven't said, Ms. Rhonda, is you've been doing this for 2 months. I mean, working up there. with
Well,
us, so,
just
yeah.
putting this together,
I
but
appreciate
yeah,
it. It helps
it's,
me a lot.
look, it's important. It's important to all of us. So I appreciate it, and I appreciate y'all letting me in to get the documents that I needed.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rhonda.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Mhm.
All right, Mr. Tom Lundu?
I don't think Donald's here, Matt.
Huh?
I don't see Donald out there anywhere.
Tom, he's not here.
Tom Lundu?
Oh, no, he left, sir.
Okay.
All right, Phil? Did Mr. Phil leave? All right, what about, Mr. Huddlestone? He left?
Okay.
And Mr. Whitney, you're still here.
Chad?
This was an exciting night, just filled with all kind of different things. It's nice to see you tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Appreciate all the.
Nice to
you're
be
going through.
seen.
Yeah, it's good. So I'm gonna start with some good news. So over the last, I don't know if I've come and talked to y'all since, but I've sent a couple emails. One about the grass cutting service. They have a crew running weed eaters, and they're doing a phenomenal job. Now, maybe not everybody's seen them, and we haven't probably seen them enough. I know the contract's getting going. This would be a contract I think we should alter maybe in the next coming year to add additional services. I think Shane and I talked about that, but also add GPS tracking so we can have an understanding of what our services are being rendered. And all the aldermen in the city, it'll be on the website, that we can see. Those devices are relatively cheap and they're very easily embedded into websites. I think that would have been one thing. The other one is Bo sent out somebody, one of the guys working on my property knocked the gas line, caused a big problem. He sent Rian out to take care of that problem. Showed up, could not have been more professional, represented Waveland in the way we should be represented. So just a couple very positive comments. Some of the other side of the comments that I have is, I don't know, I've been thinking about why haven't we grown Waveland? Why haven't we done what we need to do? So tonight we had, this whole room was full of people to talk about a special use, which is probably more of a zoning issue. Did anybody in the city tell them that we are sitting on a street that has more than enough property and is properly zoned to do everything they want and is part of what we need to do economic development in the city of Waveland? This is Coleman Avenue. We have CO1 and CO2. Both of those districts will handle both, all the things that they want to do. What they're trying to do is a special use for, what was the words exactly? Special use?
Conditional use.
Conditional use, right.
Yeah.
For things that fall within the scope of the existing code. The existing code is R1, residential. I would say that's probably a reach to do that. We should be educating people further in the city to say, hey, look, we have these available properties. Let's take people to them. Let's say, hey, these are available. And I know, Mr. Mayor, you do a lot of things. Sometimes I don't know that the plans that we're working on are the ones we should be working on. Digging a 100-foot hole in the beach, and I know you were just bringing people out. Building a 5-foot walkway, beach may not be the best thing. You know, in the city of Waveland, I don't know the charter, Ron, great job on that. Amanda and I don't know if we're bored, but we actually read the city charter one night. I think you have the power to call up all men under the age of 50 and over 18 to service in an emergency.
Yeah, but I don't know if that will hold up.
I thought it was cool.
I thought it was cool too.
Yeah, it was like, hey, you
I
know.
thought it was cool when the mayor was also the judge.
Yeah, so there was a lot of interesting stuff in it, so it's great somebody's taking the time to clean that up. What I would like to do is start, you know, we need to think differently in this city. Nothing's happened on Coleman. Nothing's happened in a lot of these things because we keep getting distracted. We see a lot of the cameras tonight. Thank you for approving those cameras. Those are the cameras we need in Waveland. So I know I've spoken.
But Chad, as you understand, and everybody in this room should understand at this point, the elevation requirement on Coleman Avenue is just like the lighthouse. Now, it's fixing to change.
Well, but
At
that's
the end
not
of this year, it's gonna
exactly.
change.
So that conversation is, you're 100% right. I think they changed maybe a couple feet and you get into an AE, but across the street.
Well, no, it's all the way to the business center.
Okay.
There's a BE zone.
Across the street is AE 19. You can build within about 1.5 feet of the, my lot across the street, I can build within 1.5 feet of the ground.
That's right.
This whole side of Coleman is open for development. There's no excuses of why we're not using it, why we're not pushing it, why we're not doing.
We do push it, and that one should be bought, if not tomorrow, the following day.
I hope so.
I mean, but there's things that I can't talk about. And look, these guys will tell you, I wear them out with ideas.
But what I'm saying is we need to be more focused on our ideas and things that we can achieve. For example, tonight we were talking about, I meant to talk about the pier. Breaking off that part that is separate from the pier is smart. It's good for Waveland. Even if we lose some money in the process, we got to get off of what the federal government decides what we're going to get reimbursed for. We have a city that we're going to sit and have blight on for 3 years when we got people building houses that are $300 a square foot. Come on, let's get together. We've got a lot of tax base. We're making things better in the city of Waveland. Let's decide on what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, and move forward. Let's not chase every idea that comes through. Let's be able to steer people. The other thing is, like, when people come in, they should be assigned a concierge in the city of Waveland to say, hey, this person is your single point of contact if you want to talk to somebody when they want to build a house. Now, Josh and all the employees do a really good job there. But this person probably should have been steered earlier on to say, hey, look, let's look at Coleman. Let's look at some of the other areas that we have in the city that are zoned that you don't need special permission for.
But they didn't want to, and that conversation was had. I can tell you because I was part of it.
Well,
I mean, that's a 9 or 10 acre tract, if I'm not mistaken.
But like the R1 zoning calls for any special use for a golf course and country clubs are allowed, but they require 40-acre minimum. How would we even allow somebody to request a special use and not a zoning variance? That's incorrect use of what we're doing. We got to get this together. You know, I know it's an election year, and look, you guys all work really hard. I think, you know, I try to give compliments as much as I give criticism. And you always do answer the phone, Mr. Mayor. I'm surprised you take my call these days, but you do, so I give you credit for that.
That's not me. I have somebody else answer.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. You got one of the Alexas and you changed the voice.
Yeah.
But I would like to start seeing some forethought. We talked about economic development, 2020.
We've talked about it day one.
We were sitting
Since day
here, and I
one
wanted you
forward.
to put up a sign. I think Shane, all of us, but we got in a little conversation during the meeting. I wanted a sign here about how many days till we're gonna do something on Coleman Avenue. Still want that sign up there, because right now it would be, I don't know, if we put the little workplace accident sign, we could just remake it. It would be probably 1,000 days since anything happened on Coleman. So, you know, I really want to see some progress. And I don't know that waiting for FEMA is always a good idea. What would it take to break off the front of the pier to the parking lot? So I bet you if you called the citizens of Waveland to go out there on a weekend, you'd probably get most of the people of Waveland out there painting, sweeping, getting our city back in order, because we're proud of our city. We really are. And you got a lot of good people that will help. Will y'all come?
Try it. Put an announcement out, see what you get. What's the worst that happens?
Can we do it?
Ma'am?
Yeah.
Can we do it? Can
I'll
we
get with
break,
you.
can we do it if we don't spend any
If we
money?
break off the end of the pier,
No, the parking lot with the pavilions.
The first set of pavilions?
The
I think-
first
I
set of
think-
pavilions. If we can't fix the
I
pier,
think what
let's,
Chad's saying is from the pier forward, all the pavilions and stuff, clean them up, do any repairs without spending
well,
city
and,
funds.
and look, here's the problem you'll run into. That pretty metal coated or paint coated metal is all rusted. You can touch it and your finger goes through. So the pavilions, we looked at just replace them with something cheap as wood. I mean, the city can afford to do that. We looked at doing it.
well, let's do it. Let's call, because I guarantee you in the city of Waveland, the people are hardworking, good people. And they will show up on a weekend and come in and spend some extra time putting together our city from Ida. You know, I've seen some of the other places, like I have that house down the bayou. And people came together and they fixed their own stuff. They didn't just wait for the federal government. They fixed their own stuff, and we need to get back to doing that. It was like when we waited for 2 months to clean up all the dead pigs and coyotes and what's that other nutras off the beach. Wow, that stunk really bad. Like sometimes we just got to be able to take things into our own
Well,
hands and make
I'm
it
not
happen.
picking that up.
No, well, I would have been out there on day like the first week.
I'll paint, but I ain't picking up.
Week
stuff.
3, I'd have needed a biohazard suit. So can we agree to get that moving?
Or at least put it on the agenda for the next meeting and have an absolute discussion about it.
You know,
I would, just me talking out loud, I would schedule an assessment day. Just a group of people meet out first, because you gotta have a plan. I mean, if you just put it out there to just say everybody show up, you're not
I
gonna
agree-
have a
I
plan
think
of
we
what
can
can
agree
and
to talk
can't.
about it at the next meeting.
I think an assessment would be better than.
I'm with you.
And then schedule.
And I'll be
a
glad to
work day
come
or
out
whatever
and
you
do
wanna
the
call it.
assessment with you, and I'll take pictures, and we can put it together, and I'll make a report out of it, of what would be required. I know Lowe's came in today, and we gave them an award. I guarantee you that company would come. Is he still here? Would Lowe's support this?
That's what I'm talking with somebody about right now.
I mean, we,
Lowe's is already ahead of the game. They're trying to do it right now.
look, we can make this happen, and we don't need to wait for FEMA. We've got to start taking our own matters into our own hands. We can't fix everything, right?
So
But-
like the project we had to help out and did a lot of projects on Coleman Avenue already. Cause to your point, I noticed it hasn't happened, like a lot of stuff hasn't happened, but it's been more difficult for a lot of people to find labor and do different things. All that being said, there is a point at which we have done volunteer work. Our associates are given hours to be able to come out and help out.
Yep.
We do Lowe's Heroes projects, and that's what we did at the beachfront for the memorial. We built trash can covers, and then to the mayor's point, gone at the next storm. So some of this is, we can do it, and I'm willing, that's why I'm talking with, who I'm talking with right now, keep Waveland beautiful, right? So, Lowe's is interested in helping, we always are.
Yeah, you've
Paint it.
never turned me down, Dave, so I
That's why
appreciate
say
that.
listen.
Well, I mean, like, I think that if we can do, who would need to be there for the assessment?
Well, that,
Somebody that would definitely have to tell us what we can and can't do as far as structure goes. With the steel, you know what
So
I'm saying?
Josh would be,
Yeah.
Josh,
Yeah,
I'll
'cause-
document
yeah, 'cause
for
I know,
y'all.
like the mayor's talking about some of the steel structures at the tops, they started rusting off at the tops too.
Okay, so those may need to come down just for safety issues.
Maybe
So
Absolutely.
maybe we should take, if we do an assessment, so Josh, I'll go document, I'll be the secretary and document everything, because I'm not very good. You have more construction experience. Is there somebody else that we need here?
I would say at least a few people, and that way you get multiple opinions of it.
Can we get the, the ball rolling on that? I'll send out an email and do it. The
Yeah.
final thing, and I'm gonna get out y'all here, because I know it's been long. Can we get our money back on the website, please? because you guys paid for a very expensive website, and you paid for a custom design, and your design right now is like the bare bones, just the thing before anybody does any work. Can we get our money back on it, or can we audit the money that we spend if we've cut checks already? So to make sure we got our money, are y'all happy with it?
I don't think we've got all the functions that we were told that we was gonna have.
So if we don't have the functions, then, Malcolm, can we have, if somebody promises something in contract and then doesn't deliver, does the city have recourse?
They do.
So we probably should be looking at recourse at this time. When was the website set up?
I can't tell
Probably
you.
7 months ago. It was supposed to be, if I remember right, it was supposed to be live for November 1st.
Yeah.
If my memory serves me right. We're in June, that's almost 7 months. I think if we haven't had specific performance by this point, I think at this point we should be getting a refund and just switch vendors.
I agree, Chad. Thank you.
Chad, I got one question
Yes, sir.
for you. You said you want to get a group of people together and go out there and work them pavilions.
Just Waveland Civic Association used to do that back in the day.
My question is, liability. Who's responsible?
Who's responsible for a food truck Friday?
The individual or the city?
I don't know. Who's responsible for
I
Food
mean,
Truck Friday?
I don't think we said anything about
City's
sponsoring people out there.
No, but Jeremy said earlier it was a city event, and your wife has done a great job
That was
with
Food
that.
Truck Friday we was
Yeah.
discussing.
Yeah, so I don't know what the thing is, but who's responsible when we paint the bulkheads, or who's responsible? These questions could be asked of any project we do. Who's responsible when a homeowner is cutting the right of way that they talked about earlier tonight? I mean,
You've got a court system that sentences people to community service.
We
So
have, we have
there's a
avenues.
whole- There's a
We do.
whole flock of, labor out there.
Yeah, we'll work
Just
together.
saying.
And I'm just-
I'll work with you
all
together.
right,
on it.
I'm just looking for solutions. That's it.
Okay.
I'm not trying to cause any grief, but a lot of ways to say no. But at this point, we really need to start saying, like, let's just make this happen. So thank y'all for y'all time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Chad. All right, I believe that's the end of the public comments.
Yes, sir.
Sleep King.
All right, blighted property, Sleep King. And I think Ms. Hannah is going to give a update on that.
Yes.
And I have some comments on it as well.
So, no permit was pulled on Sleep King, but progress was made. They pressure washed the building and they also cut the grass.
I spoke to the owner of the property, Mr. Haydell, and if you'll recall from a previous meeting, we gave him a deadline to pressure wash the building and cut the grass. And the only other thing we asked him to do was to take care of the sign. I spoke to him today. He is yet to take care of the sign, but he did do the other two things we asked about. He's in the process of getting the sign, as he calls it, wrapped, which means to go ahead and make it suitable and presentable. And he is about to close on his other property to get the funds that he needs to make the repair to the front of the building and the other repairs that are required. So I would suggest that we go ahead and continue this as we suggested if he did what we asked him to do. And so far as he's working on it, good faith. That's that one. On the George Lane,
So I got a call from Mr. Kenneth the other day actually saying that he needed an extension on the property. But to my surprise, I went today and it was all cleared except for the slab. The slab's still there, but all the overgrowth was cut and removed. So,
would you say it's in compliance at this point?
yes, I would.
All
As
right,
long as they
so-
maintain it when the
As
slab's
long
still
as they
on.
maintain it,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Which he's mentioned that he would be selling the property, so I'm not sure if he wants to remove the slab, but I'll call him tomorrow.
Okay.
Let him know.
So that's a good report on that one as well. Yeah. Okay.
Also, if you see, Miss Rhonda gave me a beautiful idea. I made a closed case log. And this is just gonna show you what progress was made 2021. And I'm gonna keep this updated like I do the open case log, so we can keep all the progress, know all the progress that's made.
Awesome. You're doing a good job, Hannah. Thank you.
you.
And thank you, Rhonda, for helping her.
Has anybody asked anything about that movie theater being cleaned up since that woman that had a movie theater was on the
Miss Luke, where is that located?
The old movie theater.
Yeah.
That's on McLaurin Street.
The one, on, yes, ma'am, I'm not from here. You're aware of that, right? So it's on McLaurin, correct? Okay, so I guess I got that right. But what was the deal about the movie theater? Just trying to get them to clean it up in general? Okay.
Yeah, it's really getting bad. It is a blighted property.
And that individual is not part of that property anymore.
Okay.
So, she, yes, ma'am, absolutely. She was a part of it. I'll get with you, Hannah, and let you know.
So Hannah has been doing, I just want to tell you, Hannah's been doing an amazing job with blighted property. She created that form for you to show you the progress that they have made in that department with blighted property over the last year and a half. And there are a lot of properties on there that they were able to get cleaned up. There is a list about the same size that's current. But tomorrow, and I'm gonna go help do this, tomorrow we're gonna go, there's about 35 properties that were left, that the files were left open. But there's no indication in the file if they've actually, if the progress has been made on them, if they should be closed out or whatever. So by the end of tomorrow, we will have visited those properties, taken pictures and updated that information so that those other properties, so that by the end of tomorrow, everything that's in the blighted property under her purview will be up to date. So we'll know, hopefully we'll be able to close most of those files because I think they've probably been done, but no notations and no pictures have been put in the files. So we're gonna finish those files out and get that out of the way for her. And then, what we have been able to do, because, you know, Keep Waveland Beautiful's work in trying to clean the city up, we've paid people a lot of money to tell us how to make our city look better. One of the things that we can do, of course, is stay on top of blighted property, and there are a lot more of them out there. But the thing is, we don't want to go out there and send letters to all these people and give them an ultimatum to clean their property up, and them be in a position where it got that way by no fault of their own. If they're infirmed, if they're elderly, if they can't cut their grass, if they can't do those things. I've found a couple of organizations who are willing to help, donate some time, and if we come across those people, once we ascertain their need, then we can go out and with these volunteers, get these volunteers to go out and clean their properties up for them and to keep those off of the city books. But what we'll have to do because of, you know, privacy and all those other types of legal matters, we're gonna have to, the city's gonna have to make that initial contact for us, because we can't go knock on their door and say, your property's blighted, let us fix it. So the city's gonna have to make that initial contact. Once that's done, then we can ascertain their need. But what we have found is that a lot of the blighted property is not, it's owned by people that don't live on the property, and most don't even live in Waveland.
And most of them are reoccurring, because the problem
Yes.
is even with this list that you see that is taken care of, give it about 2-3 more years.
Exactly.
You'll see it back on the list again.
Exactly.
Fine example is right down here on the corner of Central. We've had them in here twice. They've cleaned the property up twice. It needs to be done again. Now
Well-
we've got to go through the whole process of sending out
Right.
the letters and all that. It's just a time-consuming thing.
It is.
And it's, and most of them, like I said, they'll come in and clean it, make it look good, and forget about it. And 3-4 years later, you're back at it again with, trying to get them cleaned up again.
Exactly.
So it's
There
it's
is a
living-
lot of
It's a living
recurrence.
document, to be honest with you.
And Hannah has come up with a new way of, she'll be able to identify recurring properties. So when somebody comes in and makes a complaint, or they call a complaint in, she'll immediately be able to know how many times that person has been turned in. So, maybe they've had 5 in the past. And then, so things will have to take a different direction in those instances. But if it's somebody new, if it's somebody that is just in need, then we want to be able to help those needs without having to run them through through the process. So, we just wanted to give you that information and let you know that there's a lot of really good things happening on that front. And, so come tomorrow afternoon, hopefully, if we can get it on there, we'd like to have all of the blighted properties put on the website with the status of where they are on the website by the end of the week. That way, the public can go onto the website, and if they have a property that's in their neighborhood, they can see what the status of it is. And not, it'll save a lot of time for them and stress for them and for the office. So
Well,
just.
Thanks a lot for
Thank you.
helping. All right, did y'all discuss George Lane when I was out of the room?
We did.
Okay. All right, KWB, Mr. Thaloff.
Good evening.
Good
Ms.
evening, sir.
Tammy, good evening. Good evening to all your aldermen. And Bobby, too, wake up. A lot of things were brought up. KWB is an advocacy group. And it's an advocacy group for Waveland and for our environment and keeping what is unique or sustaining what is unique about this area. We always have difficulties in that. There's always reasons why people can't do something one way because of development considerations and things of that nature. But we always try to address that. And Ms. Gamble,
Yes, sir.
I'm addressing some of the things that you.
I was going to get something to drink.
I'm only going to be a few minutes, believe it or not.
You got it.
So we have monthly meetings. We advertise them. We rotate them from different times of the day and different days of the week. Where are all these people? That's one of the things that keep Waveland beautiful is about. Jim Meggett and Bernie Cullen have been doing this for the last 10 years as co-chairs. Jim is still, he himself spent a couple of years just on the protective tree ordinance. So there's cords of people here that want to improve things, help the city, work with the city. Lowe's has for a number of years. I've just become chair in the last few months, excuse me. But I haven't met Dave personally yet, but we'll be involved in a lot more. Lowe's, as you know, has donated. I remember the Veterans Memorial when I first moved out here. And in my opinion, the city paid no attention to it. Yes, the weather took it finally, but it wasn't kept up. It wasn't sustained. And that's what we're trying to help the city progress on. And I really appreciate that we got back with with Keep Waveland Beautiful, a line item again on the agenda. That happened a few years ago and then it went away. But we've gotten it back for the first Tuesday of every month, but I need to get information to Miss Tammy by 11 o'clock the previous Wednesday.
And you did.
And I'm getting better at that. So just to go through what I have listed here, real quickly. The least tern nesting area in North Beach. The least terns have been trying to establish a nesting area here in Hancock County for the last 6 or 7 years that I've been aware of. And either because of people that lived immediately to where they were trying to establish the nesting, which didn't want them there, they made attempts in driving them off. Plus, we've had a lot of weather issues too. Stormwater, besides surges, besides hurricanes and whatnot when they're trying to nest. They've come in and they've established a good nesting area a little bit further towards Bay St. Louis, so they aren't an irritant to the beach residents in the immediate area. Audubon Society has been on top of it, along with Fish and Wildlife, and our board or supervisor, Teresa Ryan, who's District 1, takes in a lot of that beach. She is working with Audubon. They've, just this last Friday, Vic Johnson, who is in head of road department, and that's the county beach control under Vic Johnson. Vic Johnson, Teresa Ryan, Audubon, and Wildlife and Fisheries met out here where the least terns are nesting, and they're doing very well right now. And they spent a good amount of time in getting a plan to proceed on. We aren't butting heads anymore. Audubon and others that want to maintain that area for these migratory birds and their nesting. I mean, Harrison County has made us look terrible in that respect. Harrison County has been working at that for over 25 years, and they've got a tremendous amount of least terns and get through it every year. The beach crew has no problem with it. So we're getting to that point. And over Memorial Day weekend, I had a few interactions with people because I went down and watched the area for a little bit over Memorial Day weekend. Russell and Michael, who live right across the street at 825 North Beach, they are very pro letting the least terns nest and create another draw for tourists to come. It's an economic engine also. So I had some interactions with some kids. By kids, anybody that's under 50 is a kid to me. But these were older teenagers, 4 of them. And when I walked out and I could see from a distance, they had a dog that wasn't on a leash and it was running havoc, where all the birds were nesting and inside what area we did have some signage in. And I approached them and said, your dog needs to be on a leash. And right away they wanted to argue about it. There's a number of dogs on the beach that aren't on a leash. Why are you picking on us? And I just said, I don't care if there's 200 dogs out here. I'm addressing that one right now. The beach is posted. You're supposed to have your dog on a leash, let alone in this area. So anyway, they were argumentative for about a half hour. We turned that around. The one called their mother to come down. This old man is, being disrespectful and wants us to get out of this area and whatnot. I just stayed in the area. She walked right across where the birds were nesting and whatnot, and they all exited out that way. But they sat on the beach wall for a while. I went down and sat a little bit further to make sure that the dog didn't get out there any further. This young lady that was 17 years old came up to me after we all were sitting at opposite, maybe 100 yards apart. She came up and she said, I want to apologize. She'd gotten very ugly with me, and she wanted to apologize. She said she was very angry, that she was an angry person. She was angry at a lot of things. She wasn't, I asked her what grade she was in. She said she was 17, but she wasn't in high school any longer. She'd fallen out. So we talked for a while. I told her right away, I accept your apology. I said, I understand why you're angry. And we've got her, I got her in contact with some people, some former teachers, and that's being addressed. Another young boy, the next day, he had a boogie board out there. I was walking by, and the terns, their defense, when you're in their area, they'll come and dive right at you, and they poop on you. That is their defense. And this kid, he was 13, 14 years old, and he had his boogie board, and he was whacking at them because they were coming down. And so I went and had a little discussion with him, and he says, oh, okay. And he had no problem moving out of the posted area, and he was boogie boarding some more and everything else. So we've got interactions to people to get involved. That brings in the young kids. We take care of other things than just the terns. So that's a very positive area. And I'll keep you posted on that.
Thank you.
The next item, and I'll go a lot quicker. The business incubation building, also now Studio Waveland. The exterior landscaping and parking area of that is a mess. Keep Waveland Beautiful has that at the top of their list of things to address. I've gotten a hold of the architect, which is Unabridged Architecture. I've gotten the 4 sheets of the original landscape and irrigation plan of the original landscaping that went in there, and we will address that. Jim hasn't seen it yet, and we're going to address that and work with the city, bring up some ideas on how we can improve the appearance of Studio Waveland, because Coleman Avenue is at the top of our list, and bringing that area up and getting a brand for Coleman Avenue. We've already started, as you know, with the crepe myrtles that we've planted, and we have other ideas. We're getting involved in Getz Park. That's the next thing on the item that I have here. I'd like to get a workshop going with people and Keep Waveland Beautiful and you, Alderman, on a plan for Getz Park. The Tommy Longo group came in, from what I understand, really didn't coordinate with anybody. The one pergola came down that was there, that was taken out. They put up 2 new pergolas that aren't complete, and I will complete them. I personally will complete them. I'll make up a list of materials, and I'm sure Dave here will help us with that list of materials that we need to complete them, as far as putting benchings in and getting some vines growing in them and everything else. But I need to know, are we gonna keep those 2 pergolas where they're at? The former clerk, city clerk, said he wasn't real sure that both of those pergolas that were put in by the Tommy Longo group 3 years ago were gonna stay where they're at. We've asked. Let's get a plan. I was told it's a work in progress. And I said, well, we need to make some progress. So please, if we can get together and get a plan for Getz Park, to get that together, coordinated. I've addressed via email all of you about the parking, extending that fence between Getz Park and the parking lot for the new bakery and Ground Zero because of the new traffic in there. Can we get something going in that direction also? And
I think that's a great idea.
so those things.
I'll get with Willie tomorrow on that.
So that's all I have to add for now. And just, we've had a lot of discussion about people getting involved. We post our meetings. We're all about what we want to do has to be sustainable also. We don't want to do anything that the city doesn't agree with. We aren't going to do that. We can't proceed in that manner. But we want to get together a plan that is sustainable. And Coleman Avenue is number one on our list, and we're waiting for the economic development plan from the Orion Group, because they pointed out in their presentations before they were complete that some of the low-hanging fruit on Highway 90 is landscaping and signage, and that's something that Keep Waveland Beautiful can get involved with and make happen. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And-
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr.
Bryan.
Bryan.
Yes,
I got a question for you.
yes, yes.
A couple of years back, we had a young lady that came before this board asking this board to adopt the dolphin as the city's mascot.
That young lady is sitting right.
And it was passed on, from what I can understand, passed on to KWB. Whatever become of that? Haven't heard nothing anymore.
That's on the top of my list. I've talked about it. I've talked.
Charlie, I can tell you what happened. I received an email from Bernie, Coleman that told me that, they were considering either a fish or the crab,
Well,
and that's the last I heard of it.
well, that is something that I fully, I'm a big backer of, and I spoke to, I spoke to Brenda about, excuse me, Miss Brenda, about that when we crossed paths at Claiborne Hill a few months ago on bringing that back, because of Slidell has done great with the Pelicans.
Yes, they have.
And that
Well-
was her
And
idea.
Hattiesburg has done great with.
And let me tell you, the Slidell issue was from it was a volunteer group that done it as a fundraiser for the Children's Museum. And so they're the ones who, the city didn't have anything to do with it.
That's fine.
But, in saying so, I certainly love the dolphin idea.
The
I
Dolphins.
think it's cheap to do. But the city would help, but
Keep Waveland Beautiful.
we'd
has to-
support it,
Keep Waveland Beautiful has to resurrect that
yeah.
and have it, and we've got
And
it
I
on-
appreciate it if y'all would, I really
And
would.
we've got it on our list.
Okay,
I'm sorry-
thank you.
I'm sorry, I don't give Jim opportunity to speak when I get up here. Jim, do you have anything to add? As you know, Jim's our treasurer,
Yep.
and he's also planning and zoning commissioner.
Thank you.
Well,
Dan.
yeah, thank you very much.
Don't, dang.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You finished.
Just gotta tell you, you know, states, cities, the federal government, they adopt birds and flags and all kinds of stuff. There is nothing to prohibit the city of Waveland from adopting a dolphin or a turtle or whatever you wanna have. So, think about it. Maybe we could put it on the next agenda.
Next time you'll be recognized.
I am, you recognize me.
No, we did.
Just so you know.
This is what we did.
All right, thank you, Ms. Rhonda. All right, 17, motion to approve the following consent agenda listed items B through I.
I would like to have C removed.
C,
Item C removed.
all right,
I'd like item J, K, and L removed. No, leave L on.
all right. Anybody else?
I'll make the motion.
I'll
A
second.
through L without C, J, or K.
Ask Bobby, did he have anything he wanted to remove?
Bobby, did you want to remove anything?
No, ma'am. I'll second Shane's motion.
Oh, so, I'm sorry, can we get F, cause I just have a question, well, leave F on, but
F?
Leave it on.
Removing F.
Yeah,
I'll keep
remove
that.
F, cause I have a question for
yeah,
Michael.
yeah.
Okay. All right, so we'll vote that motion in a second. Alderman Ward 1, Mr. Burke.
Yes,
Ward 2, Mr. Richardson.
Yes.
Ward 3, Mr. LaFontaine.
Yes.
And Ward 4, Mr. Piazza.
Yes.
All right, C.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Mayor, I would like to see this corrected and brought back to us. We speak through our minutes. I wasn't even at the meeting, and there's places in there where I voted yes,
I'm sorry. That's-
some places no, and some places said absence. So
Okay.
it's-
Okay,
they're
I'm sorry.
completely, they're
Okay, it'll
completely
be
messed up.
corrected.
Yes.
So can I make a motion to remove those and have them brought back at the next
Yep.
meeting, or how do you want to do it?
Let's just table it.
Welcome with the 30 days.
So, one thing we have to take into account is we have to try to approve these within 30 days. So can we approve them as revised?
I'm not approving them until I see them revised.
Okay. We'll have to bring them back at a special meeting then.
Thank you.
I can correct them in the morning and send them straight to you if
Yeah.
you like.
Let's do that, Tammy. We'll just bring them back.
Okay, will do.
So, what are you gonna do, table?
Table one.
Motion to table C.
Okay. Ward 1, Mr. Burke.
Yes.
Ward 2, Mr. Richardson.
Yes.
Ward 3, Mr. LaFontaine.
Yes.
And Ward 4, Mr. Piazza.
Yes.
All right, F. Who had a question on F? Jeremy?
Okay, and I guess this has more to do with the legal question of, I didn't know it was in state codes. There's state holidays. Juneteenth is now a federal holiday.
Correct.
And I guess Waveland can move, and I think it's more state law, you can take one holiday and move it to something that's not
This is what they.
recognized, like that's how a lot of cities do Fat Tuesday on the coast.
Right.
Will this be able to be a paid holiday, is what I'm,
So I did some research on this because I was curious after I
Yeah.
got your text. Juneteenth is not recognized as a state holiday at this moment, okay? It is recognized as a federal holiday, and people that are federal employees do get off for that date. Now, it is recognized as a national day of observance, okay, or a national day of recognition, but is not recognized as a state holiday. Now, I don't think that the city can go ahead and make it a holiday where the employees can take off. They can go ahead and recognize it, you know, as a day of observance and a day of recognition, but not to take off at this point, not until the state adopts it as a state holiday.
but
Okay.
next year, next time, at the end of the calendar year, I think we generally adopt the holiday schedule for next year.
Right.
We could remove one of the holidays that let you move to recognize and as a paid holiday for Juneteenth, correct?
That's the schedule you guys approved.
Yeah.
It's on
Here, you can pass it to him.
there. Yes.
So here's the part that I'm struggling with,
Yeah.
Jeremy. Because it's not recognized as a state holiday, I don't know that we can go ahead and do a substitute on it. But as you know, some cities take off like Mardi Gras. So if you wanted to treat it like that, you could possibly do
Okay.
it that way, to where you would substitute, you know. I guess it really just depends upon what the city chooses to do.
I just don't want employees to take off and it be an unpaid leave.
Right.
I want to recognize the day, that's not that,
Right.
it's the,
Well, they could take off if they use the vacation time or
Right.
yeah.
comp
Right.
time or whatever.
I'm just saying right now, it's a day of observance, and it's not a day that is recognized as a state holiday where City Hall's closed and people
So
are
what
paid.
could we replace it with?
Well, that's what y'all adopted, that's what they adopted. So Malcolm, since that was adopted, this holiday schedule, should it be a motion to amend for the removal of that?
Because that was already approved.
Yes, sir.
Let me see it.
Yeah. And what's in
And
green
what
is what
about
the
home
governor,
rule? City have
that was
home
added
rule?
on from the
It
governor.
does have home rule. So, this is a schedule that was adopted at some time in the
Yes,
past
sir, in September.
of last year?
Yes, sir, right around
Mhm.
budget time.
Yeah.
Well,
The former city clerk had had me add that in.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, according to what I've been provided, it looks like at some point, the city did adopt June 20th as a holiday. So I need to check the state law to make sure that we substituted something else like you said.
Gotcha,
Yeah,
that's my only,
right. So I would suggest at this point,
approve it.
we're gonna
Table
have to,
that.
we're gonna have to come back anyway to adopt the minutes on May 3rd for a special meeting. Let's just go ahead and take that up at that point.
Okay,
So we'll table that item as well,
yes, sir.
and that'll be in time for the June 20th
All right,
date.
so that's tabling F. Does the motion and second still stand?
Yes, sir.
All right, Ward 1, Mr. Burke.
Yes.
Ward 2, Mr. Richardson.
Yes.
Ward 3, Mr. LaFontaine.
Yes.
And Ward 4, Mr. Piazza.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, G,
Jay.
I'm sorry, J. Consider adopting setting the general election and primary dates
Election dates.
of, you go ahead and read that since that's.
Okay,
I'd rather
consider,
you do
yeah,
it.
this, I actually prepared this. Consider adopting order setting general election and primary election dates for 2022 and commencing the time period for candidates to qualify for office with a qualifying deadline of August 5th, 2022.
Burke moves.
I'll
All
second.
right, any
All right.
discussion?
Yes.
Okay,
We haven't set date yet for the election, but yet we're gonna set a date for deadline of qualifying?
No, you call election, yeah.
No, the order does set the date of the election also.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Do you have a copy of it there, Charlie?
No,
Okay.
not available.
Let
I
me,
just have,
let me just summarize it real quickly for you. So it says that the general election for the offices of mayor and alderman for wards 1, 2, 3, and 4 shall be held on December 6, 2022. The polling place for all elected positions in all wards shall be the Waveland Civic Center at 335 Coleman Avenue, Waveland.
No,
It's the fire.
that'd be the fire
Fire
department.
station.
The fire department?
Yeah.
307.
Central. Is this Central Fire Station here?
no, Central's on Highway 9.
Okay,
It's
this fire department
307.
right here.
307 Coleman.
307 Coleman.
What's the opening date?
All right.
Tomorrow.
The first primary election for the city of Waveland shall be held on the first Tuesday, 2 months before the time for holding the general election on October 4th, 2022. The second primary runoff election, if necessary, shall be held 3 weeks thereafter on October 25th, 2022. The qualifying deadline for all candidates for elected office shall be August 5th, 2022, and the time to commence qualification shall begin upon adoption and publication of this order. So, my hope is we're gonna be able to get this in the newspaper coming up,
Yes, sir.
but the people can start, I guess the first publication would be when?
Today's Tuesday, it'll be next Wednesday, the first publication.
Next Wednesday. So once it's published next Wednesday, people can start turning in their qualifying papers.
All right,
All right.
now this is October 4th, October 25th, and December 6th.
Yes, sir.
I'm just concerned a lot of people's gonna forget the December 6th date, say, okay, we done voted.
Well, it's the first Tuesday in December.
Yeah.
Probably have charter.
That's the way the charter
Always been.
states. Charter actually states that.
That's one thing that probably has
Now,
never changed.
That's never changed, that's right.
We got the date set for the deadline for qualifying. What is the time?
What is the time?
The time of day on August 5th?
Oh, it's close of business.
5 o'clock.
City closes it.
5 o'clock? That's what
Well,
we're
wait a
gonna
minute.
No, it
We
says,
usually
yep,
do so till then.
first primary election. That's at 5 o'clock.
It's usually close of business. Do y'all close at 5 or 4:30?
We close
In
at
past,
4:30.
it's been 5.
Okay.
To
It'll be
qualify.
5 PM then. You stay open that day for that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
From June 15th, then, June 15th, 2022, until August 5th, 2022.
Correct.
5 p.m.
Correct.
Very good.
All right, y'all ready to vote?
Are we gonna change the,
Yeah, just-
address?
Yeah, I just did that.
Yeah.
So it'll be as revised, which is, you said the fire station at 307.
307
Coleman
Coleman
Avenue.
Avenue. Yep.
Okay.
So just strike that.
Other than that, no change.
All right. Ward 1, Mr. Burke.
Burke, yes.
Ward 2, Mr. Richardson.
Yes.
Ward 3, Mr. LaFontaine.
Yes.
And Ward 4, Mr. Piazza.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, K. Who removed K?
I did.
Okay.
I just have one question on this one here. Well, a couple of questions.
We need a motion first.
Yeah, I need a motion and a
All
second.
right, well, I'll move.
Burke seconds.
Okay, go ahead, Charles.
All right, Mayor, how many people sit on this solid waste board?
There's 2 from each city and 2 from the county.
There's 2, 4, 6,
8.
8 people
total. Mhm.
total. And who were the ones that negotiated this contract?
There was a committee out of that 8. Jeremy, correct me if I'm wrong.
You can't have more than 4 on there, but
Yeah, so it was 1 from each city and 1 from the county?
no, I don't know. It was, we already, they accepted did an advisement, went there, and then,
Do we have names as to who they were?
what?
Do we have the names as to who they were?
I'll go see if it's in the minutes.
Okay. My only thing is here that I have to say on this one, I just feel like that no consideration was taken into effect with this increase of the elderly who are on fixed incomes, single parents, like that, you know. I just feel like there was no consideration whatsoever on this. And that's all I have to say about that. I mean, this is the county, this is not us. So this is not the city of Waveland. That's the solid waste board that did this.
Jeremy knows the answers, just did that promotional thing for them on TV, on their website, so you know who it is.
Mayor, I'm ready to vote.
All right. Ward 1, Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Question back here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who's got a question? Mr. Harris? I'm sorry.
Clarence Harris, 602 Amar Street, Waveland. Since we was bringing this up, I go to the county meetings, and their fees went up different from ours. And I was wondering why, since we're all under the same contract.
I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong,
Once we pick up.
he just said,
What?
They have once week pickup in the county.
So the county have one once a week?
They pay county down there once a week.
I was just wondering, because I be there and I know their rates went up, but lower than ours. Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you, Mr. Clarence. All right. Ward 1, Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Ward 2, Mr. Richardson?
Yes.
Ward 3, Mr. LaFontaine?
Yes.
And Ward 4, Mr. Piazza?
No.
Motion still passed. Where we at
18.
now? Aye, right? No.
Docket
Okay.
claims.
All right, that's end of the consent agenda. Motion to approve the docket of claims.
Was I removed?
No.
No, ma'am, I said leave it back, leave it on.
Yeah, okay. All right, continuing motion to approve the docket of claims paid and unpaid in the amount of $858,266.97.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion on the docket? Hearing none, we'll vote. Ward 1, Mr. Burke.
Yes.
Ward 2, Mr. Richardson.
Yes.
Ward 3, Mr. LaFontaine.
Yes.
And Ward 4, Mr. Piazza.
Yes.
Thank you. 19, motion to approve the following closeout documents and authorize my signature thereon. Is items A through I.
I'll
L.
move.
L.
Burke seconds.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Ward 1, Mr. Burke.
Yes.
Ward 2, Mr. Richardson.
Yes.
Ward 3, Mr. LaFontaine.
Yes.
And Ward 4, Mr. Piazza.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion to approve an agreement with Southern Mississippi Planning Development District to act as a host agency partner in the Senior Community Service Employee
move.
Program.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any questions? Hearing none, we'll vote. Ward one, Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Question?
No, the only thing I did want to say is on that last one where we did the closeout documents, I would like to make it clear it's for the Waveland Avenue sidewalk project.
All right, so 19 was related to the Waveland Avenue sidewalk project.
No, wait a minute. We still have issues down there that they never even bothered to come back and correct.
So the contractor didn't fix them?
He fixed one area, but there's other areas that we went back and fixed. And then there's another area further up Waveland Avenue towards the highway that's not even fixed, which is on your side.
Is Bo still in here?
No.
No. All right.
If you have a punch list, I'm assuming there's a punch list on this, that's not gonna stop the punch list from being dealt with, so if you wanna say, subject to the punch list, we can add that in.
Well, that's what I'd like to add,
Okay.
Okay.
but from what I was told, he wasn't coming back to do it.
Well, then we'll have to withhold funds, so I'll add that.
All right, did we completely
And,
vote 20?
Also, while we jump back to 19 here, I want to change my vote to no.
Well, we can't just do it that way. We're gonna have to have somebody bring a motion to reconsider on that, so is that,
No, I'll motion to reconsider.
okay?
I'll
Close out,
second it.
Charlie? I'm sorry.
All right.
19.
19. All right. This is a motion to reconsider.
Yep.
The following closeout documents are authorized by signature thereon, listed items A through L.
That's the Waveland Avenue sidewalk project.
Waveland Avenue sidewalk project. All right, y'all ready to vote? All right, Ward one, Mr. Burke.
Yes.
Ward two, Mr. Richardson.
Yes.
Ward three, Mr. LaFontaine.
Yes.
And Ward four, Mr. Piazza.
No.
All right,
Wait,
thank you.
Wait just a minute.
And this
now.
is with
Hold
the
on.
addition of,
Hold on a second. That was a motion to reconsider, which is what you asked for.
Yeah.
okay,
Yes, I'll
No.
vote yes on that one.
That's what I
Okay,
thought.
Matt?
Okay,
Okay.
I just want to make sure you're
All right.
aware of that. All
All
right,
right.
now, it's back,
all right.
I know it's late. It's back up now to decide whether or not to approve it or not.
All right.
And so,
I'll make a motion to approve A through L.
Burke
Okay.
seconds.
all
And-
right,
And that's with the punch list, is that correct?
subject to the punch list.
Subject to the punch list. All right, we'll vote that. Ward one, Mr. Burke.
Yes.
Ward two, Mr. Richardson.
Yes.
Ward three, Mr. LaFontaine.
Yes.
And Ward four, Mr. Piazza.
Only yes, subject to the punch list.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, have we voted 20 yet?
Yes, we did 20.
Okay.
Attorney's comment.
Turn it down.
All right, attorney's comments?
Yes, and I'm sorry, I wanted to point out something to you that I saw on 20. I didn't realize we had gotten to that one. I was focused on 19. In 20, there's a clause that I'm gonna ask that we remove. So let me go back to it. It's on, let's see, it's something new that they've added, they've never added in before, and I verified this with the lady that handles this. And that's the indemnification clause that is on page 3. I think we should go ahead and approve this, but delete that provision that deals with indemnification. So if I could have you revise the motion to approve it subject to that change.
I made the motion, so I'll approve the motion with the,
All right,
subject to the change.
Burke second. Hold, second holds.
all right, we'll vote again. Ward one, Mr. Burke.
Yes.
Ward two, Mr. Richardson.
Yes.
Ward three, Mr. LaFontaine.
Yes.
And Ward four, Mr. Piazza.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. All
I
right, do
spoke
we
to
need,
Ms. Hale about that, and she said that that was something new that the federal government had inserted, but by law, I don't believe we can agree to that provision.
no, we've used that program since I was elected.
Right.
So, any need for a closed session?
Before we go to that, on my comment section, we have bids that we received for the demo of the property there on Avenue B. This is one of the properties that we had adjudicated as a public menace at a previous meeting. And also, we have a bid for the one at 1939 Sour Street. So I'd like to go ahead and open those at this time. All right, the first one is for Avenue B. This is the property at 9022 Avenue B. The quote is from Dwayne Gates, and his lump sum bid price is $2,900, $2,900. The next one is from Morial Construction, and that's also on 9022 Avenue B. Quote from Morial Construction is $2,200, $2,200. And the last bid is for 1939 Sour, S-A-U-E-R Street.
1913?
1939.
1939.
1939.
These are more closed quotes than the other bids, right?
Yeah, these are just
Jim,
quotes.
sign
This
that
is
one.
also from Morial Construction. That quote is $4,400, $4,400. I would recommend that we go ahead and move forward on the ones for Avenue B at this point, and I think we probably need to see if we can do something else about Sour Street. That one is well above the cost estimate we thought on that.
And we only
We'll just take it,
received one.
take it under advisement. So my recommendation is to award the bid to the lowest bidder on the one at 9022 Avenue B, and to table to be reviewed and considered at a later date the one for 1939 Sour Street.
I'll make a motion to amend the agenda to take action on the bids that was received for
Right.
Avenue B.
All right, we'll vote to amend the agenda. Ward 1, Mr. Burke.
Burke, yes.
Ward 2, Mr. Richardson.
Yes.
Ward 3, Mr. LaFontaine.
Yes.
And Ward 4, Mr. Piazza.
Yes.
I'll make a motion,
Let me hand these to Tammy.
I'll make a motion
Yes, sir.
to award the demo contract to Morial for $2,200 for Avenue B.
Burke seconds,
All right, we'll vote that motion. Ward 1, Mr. Burke.
yes.
Ward 2, Mr. Richardson.
Yes.
Ward 3, Mr. LaFontaine.
Yes.
And Ward 4, Mr. Piazza.
Yes.
Thank you. Is that it?
And I would ask that you go ahead and move to table on the bid to be considered at a later date for
For
one on
Sour.
Sour Street.
Make a motion to amend the agenda to table the bid received for 1939 Sawyer Street.
Burke seconds,
All right, we'll vote that amendment. Ward 1, Mr. Burke.
yes.
Ward 2, Mr. Richardson.
Yes.
Ward 3, Mr. LaFontaine.
Yes.
And Ward 4, Mr. Piazza.
Yes.
I make a motion that we table the this one bid received for 1939
I'll second.
Sawyer Street.
All right,
Pending what? So we're tabling it pending.
Review.
asking for more quotes?
Pending review. you know, we need to find out, because we only have one quote, and it's well above what the cost estimate was. So, yes.
All right, Ward 1, Mr. Burke.
Yes.
Ward 2, Mr. Richardson.
Yes.
Ward 3, Mr. LaFontaine.
Yes.
And Ward 4, Mr. Piazza.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay. That's all I have under attorney comments, Mayor. I'm ready to move on to item 22.
All right, do we have a need for a closed session?
We do, Mayor. I recommend that we go into closed session to discuss prospective or potential litigation as it pertains to the mowing contract with Lombardo, with the understanding that, let me just make sure I read exactly from this, that the discussion in open session would have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the city.
I'll move.
I'll second.
All right, we'll vote that. Ward 1, Mr. Burke.
Yes.
Ward 2, Mr. Richardson.
Yes.
Ward 3, Mr. LaFontaine.
Yes.
And Ward 4, Mr. Piazza.
Yes.
I recommend that we go into executive session now to discuss prospective litigation as it pertains to the contract with Lombardo for grass mowing, with the understanding that having the discussion in open meeting would have a detrimental impact or effect on the litigating position of the city.
I'll move.
I'll second.
All right, we'll vote that. Ward 1, Mr. Burke.
Yes.
Ward 2, Mr. Richardson.
Yes.
Ward 3, Mr. LaFontaine.
Yes.
And Ward 4, Mr. Piazza.
Yes.
All right, off we go.
Tell,
An hour and a half.
tell Bobby we'll
No,
call
no,
him
no,
back.
I've been watching.
Oh, you're gonna
it.
watch him on?
Yeah.
Will you want me to just keep him on the phone?
Yeah, I guess you should stand up.
Okay, Bobby, I'm bringing you into executive session.
Yeah, don't forget me out here.
I got you. Bob. So I can't give it to you till next Wednesday. Till next Wednesday. That's what they were saying, huh? When they were just talking about the order, once that it has to go in a publication in the paper, then once I do that. But look, I got. Oh, well, I'll ask him if I can, let me go ask Malcolm if I can get it, because I brought it all. Are you gonna go independent or party? Okay, let me go ask Malcolm. Right, let me go make sure. Right, the 15th. I know, hold on, let me go.
see anybody, I don't see anybody there. Of course, you can do, I mean,
We found the guy today.
You did?
Oh, yeah.
She's,
Look, it only took a couple of minutes. I was like, oh, here he is.
really?
Yeah.
And I've never seen anybody like him.
His name is Juan Garcia. He works at El Magui on the highway.
Get out of here.
Yeah, and he lives up in the hill.
Get out of here.
So,
So is he considering?
well, we had
Yeah, he made that, okay.
Yeah, so they gotta wait for him to respond. We may just go pop in there and eat.
Yeah, you might do that, yeah.
So it's Lakeside Street.
Yes. So
It's actually a V.
It's like a big U almost.
Here's what I have an issue. On our property, we're on Lakeside Drive, because that's that one side, okay? And the other side, that other side was Lakeside Street. But what happened was the city changed the sign on a new sign. They put the wrong street.
The street.
Yeah.
But
And I complained about it.
I'm like, there is.
So did you see it?
The wrong house. No, I didn't even go down, because I was just going down.
Yeah.
I'm like,
You just
okay,
make that
street,
blue
street.
You gotta go down, if you're
Yes,
heading
exactly.
towards
And
the,
the city,
if you're heading towards the bay, it's the first one, not the second one. It's the first Lakeside Street, not the second Lakeside Street. Cause it makes like a U, and if you turn right, it turns into, Whispering Pines, not Whispering Pines.
Seabrook.
Seabrook.
Seabrook. Yeah, it stops and starts. It's.
Yeah, it's weird.
And
It's weird.
even on the portal, you know, when I
Yeah.
look on the geoport,
Yeah.
all of that, those streets are long the way they come.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's confusing.
Yeah.
So when I say on drive, you just have to pretend you know where you're going.
But it could be, it could be
Yeah,
an
oh, yeah.
amazing house.
Yeah, yeah.
It really
I think
could.
so. It's a nice thing.
What you could do with that? It would be
Good
awesome.
luck to you, so just let me know, yeah.
I'll be excited.
I have no idea why someone would unless there's anyway, call me.
I will.
Okay.
I will. It's good to see you.
Good, and look, I want one of the charter.
Okay.
I think she's been sent in an email or something. Cause I tried to look at, for my little fiasco, try to look at on there and it's like, it's unreadable.
Oh,
And
it's a cluster. It's horrible. It's terrible. I'll send it to you.
yeah, well, come and see what she does.
I will. I'll come visit. It does. I don't know. This should be quick, because they're all, and they want the grass. Look, in our neighborhood today. One guy had a little red car with the trunk open. There were 3 of them in the car, and there were weed eaters hanging out the trunk, and the trunk was wide open, they driving around. There's another black car with 1 or 2 guys in it, trunk up, weed eaters sticking out the back of the trunk. Beverly freaking hillbilly driving around in the woods. And look, I picked Keith up at 11:30 to go get something to eat. So he said, go down Turner Street, go down Turner Street. You know, I go down Turner Street. There was a patch weed eating, a patch not touched, patch weed eating, a patch over here, a big old section not. It was crazy. Nicholson Avenue, they did the weed eater out that wide. Didn't that you can't cut 2 cities with 1 zero turn and a bunch of guys on weed eaters. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. It's crazy. Yummy. I have to call my husband. I don't know if I wanna stay until they're done or not, cause they're not gonna say anything, and they're not gonna do anything, so. Yeah. Right, it isn't impossible. Oh, yeah, it will.
be all good things.
That's right, that's right.
To me, anyway. He's like, he's going, she's probably wondering where the kid is.
No, he's, I talked to him today, he was in, and, they're supposed to be, yeah, they're supposed to be getting back on the ship after July. Headed towards Canada.
Yeah, don't tell them until he gets back.
Oh, I'm not, I'm going to probably be asking.
Well, they'll be the 30th now, and all we're gonna do is, all of those that come before us, we're just gonna say, okay, we already talked about these, we'll just vote to make it official, and we probably won't even have the people come up and talk. We'll see.
Hey, when y'all do a yes or no decision,
Do we have?
when you do, when you.
Yes, yes or no.
Why don't y'all tell why you're voting that way?
Well, when we
What
do the
is that?
discussion, they say why they are for this. And you've been at a meeting and that's,
Oh, yeah, I've been called a, what is it called?
well, it kind of goes by the questions that they ask, if they even tell them.
I just think it's more open if you just say, yes, and I'm voting this way because, so it's not allowed.
I'll suggest it, see what they say.
Okay, would y'all check out that amphitheater ordinance?
That's, that
That's
needs to
blighted
be-
property,
Yeah,
that's
that
gonna
needs
have
to
to
be
go to
simple.
Hannah.
Blighted, yeah. And
I gotta try to take that, say, well, she's not.
No,
there
well,
anymore.
I'll put it on,
There's
I'll
a
put
yes
it on
or
the
no.
list in the morning.
And she's been there before, so she knows.
that would be key way to use it anyway, when we planning. We would, we don't do that.
No, it's gonna just be Hawaii.
It is. It's in bad shape. It's,
The guy that owns it is,
Charlie?
yeah, like,
Lots of people.
Yeah.
They used to own the Corn Market, Charlie and John.
yeah.
That's
He
such
lives,
a
he lives
shame.
in that, how we walk around. I rode through there today, and it's so good.
Nephews, okay, we only.
you two are funny. You can change the channel if you want. We don't have popcorn on this. So, your meeting's on the
We do
30th,
need food.
right? The
We
P&Z.
have one on the 13th coming up.
I thought y'all were the last Monday of the month.
Not always. Depends on when
When David Dress.
yes, what
did
David
his work.
came up with a whole year's worth of schedules and he kind of, it was all over the board. It wasn't, it used to be that it was the last Monday of the month. But the last couple of years, he's had the schedules getting ready to
Said
make
full
full
range,
sense.
push it whenever he wants.
Stephen Palazzo's in a runoff.
He won?
It says Republican Stephen Palazzo advances primary runoff election before congressional district.
So I wonder if he's gonna show up.
Well, let me tell you something about that. Look, I'm not a Stephen Palazzo fan. I'm
And
not.
there's two of us.
I'm not. But let me tell you something. I voted for Stephen Palazzo and I'm gonna tell you why. Because Stephen Palazzo is about to be, if he gets reelected, he's gonna be on the Ways and Means Committee. If he gets on the Ways and Means Committee, for the first time since Trent Lott left Washington, we're gonna have a voice in Congress.
Yeah.
Up until now, we haven't had, from Trent Lott getting his ass kicked
Oh,
out,
I hate to say
until
it, I
now,
wait
we
for it
haven't
for
had a
voice.
voice. Now, if Palazzo loses and somebody else goes in, we go back down to
It's
that.
not gonna go too far.
Not me, not me. I wanna vote, look, we had Trent Lott in there forever, what do you think he was? He was a shyster, but he got shit from Mississippi.
I don't care. I have yours.
Well, so do I. with those flowers.
I just wanted to let,
I've never heard
I
that
just
in a
wanted
little
to
while.
let all the chickens and the cows just go bring them up there. Parade them around. They will be.
Sandra, you're being so quiet over here. Are you okay?
Laryngitis.
You had that before.
She yells at us.
All right, all right, talk. All right, I just wanted to say hi.
And I
Why isn't your throat sore? Why isn't your throat sore?
Be my prep food.
She should be able to speak
And you
either.
wanna get some?
I think she
Sherry?
looks good too.
My daddy was in my class.
There you go.
I need to get you copies of Ron's last report for WCA.
Yeah, you did, it's the same age as us.
Okay, we school.
Yep.
And you have to remember, and I don't blame you if you don't, where the money came out of for the 11 great myrtles, if it came out of the beautification fund or KWB's money.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know, but I can find out for you.
Yeah, I would like to know, we're hoping that it came out of the Waveland's beautification fund rather than our Keep Waveland Beautiful money. And I'll bring you what Ron used to give me, to show, because I would do a financial statement and I would have to get it from Ron because money, Waveland holds money.
And I'm trying to break them all out, like all our grant accounts, to where they stand on their own, to where at any second you can call me and ask me what my balance, what is my balance, and I'll be able to just whittle it up and look at it.
And I didn't want to, you were busy enough to start with, so I didn't want to come and ask you for anything.
I am working on that though. I already got one of our big grants out and on its own, and it's the police grant. I'm trying to get on its own, so I will definitely work on yours too. There's no reason for us to do all this manual work. Then all we have to do is set up our system correctly. And it will be easy. So, I'm not into doing all the manual spreadsheets and stuff. I'm into just pulling a report and letting you know what money you have.
Yeah, we usually, when we get our checks, we would just bring them to you, deposit it into the protected account or whatever it is, restricted account. Finished already?
Wow.
No action taken.
We got the issue.
You waking us out.
All right, can I get a motion to come out of executive session with no action taken?
I'll second.
All right, we'll vote. Ward 1, Mr. Burke.
Yes.
Is Bobby still on the phone?
No, he had.
Bobby's gone.
No, we
Ward
turned
3,
him off.
Mr. LaFontaine.
Yes.
And Ward 4, Mr. Piazza.
Yes,
Thank you. Now, could I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll give it.
I'll second.
All right, Ward 1, Mr. Burke.
Yes.
Ward 3, Mr. LaFontaine.
Yes.
And Ward 4, Mr. Piazza.
Yes.
Thank you. And thank you all.
Good night, Shane.
Yeah, let's go. You buying?
When do you want to? Since he's here, when do you want to meet?